All right, we are live. We are so late today. We are starting late today. It's quite literally a Sunday, actual real nighttime incel. Sunday night incel. Weekend chat number 41, I believe. Hopefully I marked this stream right. I think in episode 41. This is gonna be pretty impromptu. I don't expect a lot of people to show up for this one here, but it's okay. We're starting off with 0 people in the chat. Hopefully the thing shows up and and people see and they decide to come in here and join and jot some comments down. This one might be a little bit short, might be a little bit long. I'll go as long as I can tonight, but it's 8:03 where I am right now, so we'll go for maybe 3 hours. Go till about 10 o'clock. So let's do this shit. Let's get the shit started. We're gonna get the shit started. What's up, my dudes? Count of Woodlands. Hi, what's up, my dude? We got 2 people already in here. What's going on? People want to hop in here just to hear what I have to say. God, last night's stream was a clusterfuck to some extent. That was a clusterfuck of a stream, but it is what it is. Sometimes they're good, sometimes they're bad. A lot of politics in that one, a lot of racial stuff in that one. So yeah, stuff's kind of hard to talk about, but it is what it is. I actually want to show a video in my a video today. I'm afraid to show it because I've been like fucking copyright striked like 55 times now, and I'm exaggerating quite a bit there. But like, there's a lot of times where I end up showing a of a clip and then it gets copyright strikes, so the stream has to come down. So I might just maybe share the audio of it, and then people can watch it later. People can watch it later on, but yeah, that's today's. I don't really have any memes to show today, even though I am home at my computer. But I'm not going to show any memes today. We're just going to hop probably right into a video, open up the chat to people who want to join the chat and talk, and just kind of have a good time tonight. We're going to probably go for as long as I can tonight. Maybe like 3 hours till 10 o'clock till I have to go to sleep for work tomorrow. But yeah, what is up, my dudes? Episode 41, I believe. Face and LMS stream roped. Like, did it just not happen, or did it literally? What happened? Like, because I was looking for the stream when I initially, when I came back home, when I was doing, I was out on a date today, and I came home and I was like, okay, well, let me see, did Face and LMS stream today? And I checked, and I didn't see anything on his channel. So I'm like, either did he get like taken off YouTube by the algorithm or something, or what happened? I have been summoned. What is up, my dude? What's up? Good meme. Bad connection? God dang, he's always had like connection issues to some extent. I don't know. He got to get his shit together. Go to my channel, go to my discussion. Here it is. I found the clip I want to show. So really good. I might not even show the maybe if I do this, it won't get let me move this over here. I don't want people to see what I have on my fucking stream here. He streamed for like 10 minutes, but the connection failed him. Oh my god. Dude, what kind of connection does he have? Like, I have Verizon Fios, so I have pretty good connection, especially for one person using it. But I'm like, dang, dude, he has the horrible time. What's up, buddy boyos? Can't stay long, unfortunately. That's unfortunate, Daniel. I was hoping to have you in here. Hope you have me happy on the panel tonight. But yeah, today's more of an impromptu stream, so we're just gonna kind of hop on in here. Mystery got hub on right now. Stacy didn't put out. Oh, dog. Face and LMS stream was a mess. Yeah, I've heard. I've been hearing about this. Yeah, I've heard it's a pretty bad thing. Let me share my screen real quick. Share screen 2, share audio, share this. Can you guys see this? It's kind of a picture type thing. So or it's kind of like I took the YouTube embedded thing and pulled it out. So hopefully this doesn't get copyright striked off the internet. But you guys can see this, right? Then I might have to adjust the audio if you guys can actually hear it. Let me take this off the screen real quick so I can adjust the audio real quick. Move it there. And then let me go to YouTube real quick and adjust the audio there. So let me do this. Put the audio all the way up because every time I do this, I have an issue with the audio. So, all right. I'll probably wait until people get in here real quick before I start playing this clip. It's a really good clip from the I've been doing a lot of documentary watching from like the 1950s, 1960s, just to see how things were back then. And this guy here, he's like talking about how the feminism and stuff like that, how it was like how pervasive it was back then, and how like we're basically seeing it's like the exact same behaviors over and over and over again. It's like, okay, like, so nothing's really changed. As the old saying goes, there's nothing new under the sun, right? So like it's the exact same shit. Oh God, facing LMF with a mess. Also, if the dope panda is here, I want to apologize for my bad behavior yesterday. I was having a bad day and I took it out on my bro self. I hear you, my dude. It's cool. Yeah, we can see. What's up, King Doge? Egg cells. Count what you have now. Don't count what you don't have. Find that you have so much. We got 7 folks in here. Oh my God. Let's see if people we can get in here. Oh my God. So Face didn't stream today, so I guess I'm the only game in town today, right? Everyone was like, please, Mystery School, please stream. I need something to watch. It's like, please come back online. That's unfortunate. I didn't know he had a connection issue. That kind of sucks, but it is what it is, right? What can you do? Happens to the best of us, right? See, do I actually have any memes? Let me show this. Let me pull up my meme folder real quick. No, I showed most of these last time. So yeah, I gotta do some meme hunting for sure. Hellbent of Death for the Light had a stream before LMS's stream failed stream. Okay, well at least you guys got some content today, right? Mystery, the only reason I live. I've been reading Durant's story of history and civilization to basically emerge and fall the same. It's scary to read him and then look at the modern historical events. And it's actually I've been watching this guy named What If Alt His, and he has like a pretty big a reading list of books that he normally goes off of. And basically, I think it's like you said yesterday. I think as you might have quoted this. I might butcher the quote, but basically, civilization start off stoic and the end Epicurean, I believe is how it goes. And basically, the whole idea of like civilization, they start off like with the idea is like they start off with a barbarism, and then they go to high civilization where it's like a good middle ground between like like being a barbarian effectively, like basically might makes right, and you have basically this idea of like common unity and a civilization and keeping people in check, and then it ends in degeneracy or a decadence, and then it ends a decadent to some extent. And unless there's some renewal, there's no reset for that. You either go decadent and then you die off, and then something new arises from that. So it's pretty funny. This is like a never-ending cycle, and it's like you need to have constant renewal of your society to keep things going. So, yeah. Kind of off topic, but how do you guys cope with not being married? I have cousins getting married left and right. I'm feeling pressured by my family, but obviously I can't get anything. Dude, I mean, you cope the way you've always been coping, right? Like, obviously you haven't been married before, so you're kind of sitting here thinking like, okay, well, what do I do? Well, kind of do what you've always been doing, right? Like you keep up the same keep up the same thought processes and just kind of keep find various copes and just get stuff over. I don't even know what to even tell you, dude. I know I get a lot of pressure from my mom at least to get married and stuff like that, and he's like, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I have very very nuanced views about marriage, truth be told. Like I don't know, I'm very much still believe in like not so much marriage per se, but like a traditional family structure. But like I don't know, marriage is just such a bad deal for men nowadays. Like what the fuck do you do, right? Like you're just fucked. Like it's just hard to fathom getting married when in an economy and in a government where the government quite literally like fucks you over if you're a man. It's fucked. Mario's left his basement for the first time in months, needed for soda, but was getting bogged by supermarket normies. Sad. Military Assistance Command, Vietnam Special Operations Group. Nice. I wouldn't want to get married anyway, even if I could, because of divorce laws and a possibility of sexless marriage. Yeah. Once the kids arrive, the sex ends, dude. Like it's over. Yeah, Durant says that in the first volume, our Oriental heritage. Basically, it's almost a vicious cycle of struggle, abundance, and decadence. Yeah. That's this world. Yeah, I hear you, my dude. I cope. Get out of here. Jesus Christ. I cope. Get out of here. Jesus, fucking goddamn messages, dude, from fucking mail. I cope with not being married by listening to divorce cases. I'm a dead bedroom waiting to happen. Yeah. Yeah, I had like, oh my God, I'm trying not to fucking brag here, but I've had like, I had a date this past Thursday, and I had a date today. They both went pretty well, so I don't know. Just weird. Where are the dunk memes? Chad out. I know, dude. Tell me about it. What the fuck, dude? Chad, get the fuck out of here, dude. What do you mean, Tyrone? Tyrone out, dude. Where are the dunk memes? I don't have any memes today, dude. I'm sorry. I'm actually gonna play some videos though from this 1950s documentary I've been watching. So just wait for people to come in here. If we reach like 20, or maybe I'm happy to do it at 15. Show this video clip if it even plays. I know it's gonna play. It doesn't matter if it even actually. Oh, there's 15 people now. Fuck it. Let's do it. All right. Let's share my screen. Screen's already here. It's a matter of putting it back up. Okay, so here's a clip. Let me know if you guys can hear this now. So I'm gonna play this clip. Let me know if it sounds okay or not.
Date when the women's movement began.
Can you guys hear that? Does it sound good or does it sound bad? Audio too low, too high. I'm not sure what the audio is going to do when you have it out in screen. When you have the screen out, when you have the pop out browser thing going. So let me know if it sounds okay or not. I see. Yeah, I hear good. Okay, I'm gonna assume it's good. Daniel said good. World's Crumbling said good. Or yeah. All right, so let's do this clip. Let's play this clip. All right. Sound seems loud enough. Okay, good. Let me read some comments here. I think I need to just move away from my family, and they don't ask me about my love life or marriage. They don't really know what else to do. They don't really know what to do. Yeah. All right, let's do this clip. Here we go.
I think one would start earlier than the mid-1960s. I think one might start with the year 1957. The birth control pill wouldn't come out till 1960, but birth rates began to decline in 1957. The proportion of women going to college rose very sharply in the 5 years after 1957. A sharply increasing number of young women began to live on their own, away from parental control. And there was a very sharp increase in married women entering the workforce.
You guys hear that? Like, come on. Like, this stuff is not necessarily new. It's just a continuation of old policies. Like, this is the exact same problem, though. Like, birth rates decline, women going to college, et cetera, et cetera. Like, I think women have actually been the majority in college since, like, the 1950s, or, like, at least the 1960s for sure. So this concept of, like, oh, women were always oppressed and they weren't able to do anything back then, that's a complete, like, everything I've learned about the 1950s and watching these documentaries means that, like, the 1950s was quite literally, like, everything that we saw in the media about the 1950s, that's what everybody believes about the 1950s. But the reality of the 1950s is completely different from what's actually going on, like, rather from what actually happened. It's crazy. We keep going with this clip, though.
So I would argue that it's in this 5-year span from about 1957 to 1962 that you begin to see the marked discrepancy between the image of womanhood, the feminine mystique, as Betty Friedan would call it, and the reality of women's lives, which are now fundamentally different. Women alone, pursuing an education and pursuing a career. They were bound on a collision course. The collision occurs with the publication of Betty Friedan's Feminine Mystique in 1963. In her book, Betty Friedan argued that the mass media and educators and social scientists and politicians were all conspiring to create an image of womanhood that all women were supposed to find fulfilling. And that was an image of womanhood as mother and wife. Women were supposed to pity neurotic women who might become scientists or poets. Many women read Betty Friedan's book and could understand the message that society was telling them that they should be happy when they weren't. Betty Friedan called this the problem with no name, but pretty soon it had a name, and that name was sexism. To most Americans, the women's movement seemed to blossom out of nothing. There seemed to be no roots. But in fact, what we know is that there was a great concern about women's discontent just as the 1960s were beginning. Magazines like Newsweek and Time did cover stories about women's discontent. Newspapers like the New York Times ran editorials about why women were unhappy.
Like even back then, like so, like we talk about women being unhappy, like nowadays, like it's like a huge meme now where it's like, oh well, women are more unhappy now than they ever have been. But the real question is, have women ever been happy? like that's the big meme, right? Like, have women ever been satisfied ever in the history of mankind? Like it's constant. It's been constant like shit test since day one, dog. Shit test since day fucking one. It never ever ends. It never ends. It never ends, dude. Like you can't get rid of the shit test, dude. It never ends. They're constantly testing you, constantly telling you that something's wrong, and constantly telling you that you have to change the world. So yeah, or rather change the world to make them feel better, to make themselves less oppressed. For example, I think even monogamy was actually something that women advocated for, and now I think Alexander Grace might actually be right on this. And I think I've even talked about this in my covert polyamory video or polygamy video, where like basically I think women are going to start advocating for, hey, I want to be able to share a husband now because I'd rather be the husband to a the wife to a multi-billionaire than the husband to the fucking I don't know, the guy working at the Amazon warehouse. Like they don't give a fuck about like I said, it's just a matter of like women are never satisfied. They always want the advantage no matter what. So like if monogamy suits their needs for the era, they go with monogamy. If polygamy serves their needs in this era, they go to the polygamy. But it never ends. Let's keep going with this clip. It's a really good clip. I like this clip a lot. So let's keep going.
One magazine, Redbook, asked readers, why are young mothers discontented? It received 40,000 replies. Clearly, underneath the surface, there was a great deal of unhappiness with the way women's roles were structured and the kind of aspirations that women were allowed. Increasingly, women already had come to believe that marrying at a very young age and having a house full of children was not the acme of fulfillment. It's hard, I think, for most Americans to know how really different women's lives were in the 1950s were from the way they would be since. The greatest number of American women married at the age of 17. Half of all American women were married by the age of 20. The typical woman had 3, 4, or 5 children during the 1950s. Her mother had fewer children. Increasingly, as the decade wore on, women were feeling that this was just not a very fulfilling way of life. Half of all American women who went to college during the 1950s dropped out. It was said as a joke that there should be a new degree, the PhD, the putting husband through, because many women who dropped out of college were dropping out to finance their husband's educations. And so when Betty Friedan comes out with the book, The Feminine Mystique, in 1963, it becomes a huge success, not simply because it's wonderfully written and very evocative, but because there's already an audience that's prepared for its message. A group of women who feel that their lives are not as fulfilling as they should be, who feel trapped, who feel that they need new options.
But that's the thing, though. Like, see, look, here's the problem with this, with this mindset of like, give me more options. The problem is that the moment you open up you open up more options to women. So now women can now work now. So everybody proclaims that but now it becomes the new normal. So now you're required to work. So now you've vastly lost options now. The moment you open up new options, you lose options to some extent. So like when you open up the option to give women a job and have them work, okay, well you double the a labor supply. What's that do? Okay, it forces you to have a two two-working parent household in order to support a family. Like, so basically, you have no option but to work now. So like, okay, we want more options, but you don't really know what you're asking for. Like, you don't actually know what you're asking for. You just want to do what the men are doing because it looks like it's better than being at home to some extent. I don't know. It's just like this entire thing is really good. Let's keep going here.
New opportunities. And what Betty Friedan does is she spells out precisely what's wrong with women's lives. And that is the idea that women should achieve total fulfillment as wives and mothers, and not through fulfilling careers.
But like, once again, I think I like that there's basically a differentiation between fulfilling life through wives and mothers, but not through careers. Okay, but like, what about the women who actually want to be wives and mothers, who actually want to have a fulfilling life that way? Like, it all of a sudden now it's basically you remove the option from those women now, unless they marry a multi-millionaire Chad or some shit, who can afford to keep them home. You've removed that option from the majority of women now. They don't have that option anymore. So like, you've taken away those women's choices to some extent. And beyond that, like, the thing is that it never ends. The shit test, the shit never fucking ends, dog. It's the same exact fucking problem we've had since day fucking one. We're like, we do something, they want to do it too. Okay, we do, they want to do it too. And all of a sudden, it's like there's constant bitching and complaining about how, it's unfair that men get to do X, but women can't do X. Because at the end of the day, they want to be equal to you, but you can't have like two things that are inherently different cannot be equal to begin with. What it comes down to. Keep going, though. It's a really good clip. Let's keep going.
The key to understanding what happened to the family during the 1960s, I think, is a fundamental shift in values. During the 1950s, the value system tended to emphasize adjustment, tended to emphasize conformity. But by the mid-1960s, a new value system, stressing growth, fulfillment, and self-realization, had begun to appear. And this new set of values told people that they shouldn't simply accept the way they were living, but should be willing to challenge it. They should try to grow. They should try to find more fulfilling relationships. And the result, I think, was a fundamental revolution in American family life. Birth rates fell by half. Divorce rates doubled. The number of couples cohabitating.
Birth rates fell by half. I mean, come on, dude. Birth rates fell by half. Fucking divorces fucking doubled. Like, it's the same shit over and over and over again. It doesn't end, boyos. It's the same shit. The Dope Panda, you are not late. I'm the one that started late today. I've only been doing this for like about a half hour, so you're pretty good. Law at this asset, thinking people have choice. Let's see. Let's keep going.
Outside of marriage quadrupled. In other words, in the span of just 10 years, America's families went through more changes than they had gone through in the previous 200 years. Back in 1968, Nelson Rockefeller's bid for the presidency was destroyed for one simple fact: he was divorced. 2 decades later, it was possible for a man to become president who was divorced, and everyone knew it. A fundamental shift in values took place in a very short period of time. What were some of those changes in values? One of the most obvious was that marriages should be based on love and fulfillment. And if they're not producing love and fulfillment, they should and could end in divorce. And divorce would not be stigmatized the way it had been in the past.
You see that? Like, you guys hear that? Marriage should be based upon love. So basically, like, you want something that you want to base your relationships upon something that may or may not fucking exist. So rather than marriage being something that you come together for to have children with, and cohabitate with, and have a partner with, and you stick together for like more like practical reasons, you do it for something as nebulous as a fleeting emotion that comes and goes as a woman sees fit. Like, think about how insane that is. is insane. Let's keep going.
Other values that the culture was embracing included self-realization, self-actualization, fulfillment. These are the kind of values that Americans are beginning to embrace in the late 60s and early 1970s. In 1963, the United States passed the first act in its history that provided protection for equal pay for women workers, the Equal Pay Act of 1963. Then in 1964, the Civil Rights Act barred discrimination against women in employment and promotion. And so already you begin to see a new sensitivity, an unprecedented sensitivity to issues of gender in American society. But then something happened. Women discovered that the federal government was not enforcing its new laws. And it was this failure to enforce laws on the books that led Betty Friedan and many other women to form the National Organization for Women, to try to pressure Congress and the president to enforce laws that had already been enacted. And on college campuses throughout the country, independent women's movements were emerging. But the issue that brought the women's movement to public attention was something quite different. It was the 1968 Miss America pageant in Atlantic City, where a group of women protested the Miss America pageant and crowned a sheep Miss America. It was this incident, I think more than any other, that attracted enormous public attention from newspapers, from the television news, from major magazines. And suddenly the women's movement was on everybody's lips. Just to give you an example, 1/3 of all American corporations had separate pay scales for women workers. Prior to federal enforcement of anti-discrimination procedures, discrimination against women was rampant. Feminism addressed real needs. But the other thing that people sometimes forget is that feminism quickly produced a backlash among women, certain kind of women, women who define their identity in terms of being wives and mothers. And so in 1972, Congress quickly ratified an equal rights amendment to the U.S. Constitution. It was then sent to the states, which would then have to finish the ratification process. Many states quickly ratified the amendment, and then, largely because of the efforts of one woman, Phyllis Schlafly, the ratification drive was stalled. And even though Congress later would extend the period for ratification, the Equal Rights Amendment was defeated. And it was defeated not because of male resistance. Most opinion polls showed that men didn't care much one way or the other, but because one group of women felt very threatened by what the Equal Rights Amendment symbolized. The women's movement had radical consequences for American family life. It convinced most American women that they could combine a career and family. In the past, most Americans had believed that if you had a career, you simply couldn't marry. The women's movement said that that was wrong.
Boy, were they fucking wrong, right? Oh, boy, were they fucking wrong. Oh, the women's movement said that was wrong. It's like, yeah, buddy, you might want to reassess that one real quick, because marriage rates in the fucking shitter. Women's hypergamy fucking in fucking overdrive right now, because they're like, okay, well, I'm a doctor now, so you got to be the head of surgery to fucking marry me. So like, yeah, it always goes up and up and up and up and up. Like, but it never ends, dude. The same fucking problem over and over and over again.
It also convinced most American women that family life should involve sharing, that they should not be single-handedly responsible for childcare, for homework, and everything else around the house.
Wait, but that's the problem, though. Like, the biggest like I don't understand where this comes from. Of like, you talk about sharing the household duties, but like you're home all fucking day long. So the man goes out there and works 8, 9, 10, 12 hours a day, and he's supposed to come home and also take care of the household too. Like, come on, man. It's like it's such a bad fucking deal, dude. It's a bad fucking deal. They want it all. They've always wanted it all. They've always wanted it fucking all. That's the reality of the situation. They've always wanted it all. They want to have it all. They want the family. They want the big car. They want the big house. They want the Chad. They want the man with the fucking 25-inch fucking cock. Like they want it all, dude. They want you to do all the work, and they also want you like they simultaneously want a man who makes more than them, but then they complain when men make more than them. So then they complain that okay, so we raise the women up, and all of a sudden now she's complaining that okay, well now there's no men on my level, so now we have to put a man on her level. So like, see where this game's going now? Like, you have to keep going up and up and up and up and up, and it's like okay, but like we live in a world of like finite resources. Not everybody can live in a mansion. Not everybody can have a nice car or have a fucking sports car that fucking eats gas like a fucking goddamn fat kid in a fucking a buffet. Like, come on, like.
That this had to be split among men and women. What opinion polls have demonstrated is that whether women consider themselves feminists or not, they agree today that women should be free to have a career and that men and women must share household responsibilities.
So wait, so women have a career and men have a career, and we're supposed to share the household duties. You know what? It's like whatever, dude. Like, what do you even say to that? Like, come on, man. Like the fucking deal back then. Yeah, sure, the majority of people didn't get it, and once again, we all look back at the 1950s. Looks like these like rose-colored glasses. We would like the term for it. It's like everything looks so much better back then. But like in reality, though, like the more I looked through this era, the more it sucked to some extent. Like the more there was a whole lot of like shit going on in the background that people didn't really talk about. People were cheating on their wives, and men were getting cucked left and right back then to some extent. But like I don't know, like the fucking deal of like, oh, we both work and then we share the household duties. Like all you've done is that you've just turned yourself into a fucking serf at that point. Because now you're forced to work, he's forced to work, and now we're all worse off because of it. At least if one person's working and one person's suffering at work, and you're home taking care of the household, and you're there watching the kids and making sure they go to school and looking for their schoolwork, that seems to be a much better system because there's a separation of duties there. Somebody's doing one job, someone else does another job. I'm good at this. I'm naturally good at working and being stressed out and doing hard labor, and you're naturally good at taking care of children and rearing kids and being and mothering and feeding the kids. Like, why is that deal so fucking wrong? But no, instead, once again, they want it all. They want to have the career and the family and the Chad and the house and the big fancy car and all the power in government. But they don't want any of the responsibility, though. None of that. But they want everything up to that point. The responsibility you can keep.
The women's movement had one unanticipated consequence, and that was to produce a backlash among many women who felt threatened by the changes that the women's movement was promoting. Many women who viewed their identity as full-time wives and house and mothers felt very threatened by the women's movement. Back in the 1950s and early 1960s, the most popular show on daytime television was Queen for a Day. And on that show, people stood and applauded when a woman announced that her career was that of homemaker. These women who continued to define their identity as wives and mothers felt very threatened. They were afraid that their lifestyle was being stigmatized, that their whole way of life was being trivialized and laughed at, that women should have more serious occupations outside the home rather than a serious occupation within the home. These women felt very threatened by the women's movement, and they would develop their own movement to protest against it, a movement that would soon take up the name the pro-family movement. The family became a battleground in American society. Many social conservatives believed that the changes that were taking place in American families were disastrous. They were concerned that divorce, single parenting, and working mothers was leading to a disaster for American society. And they began to develop a whole political agenda designed to stop or even reverse those changes. They called for an end to eroticism on television. They called for an end to making contraceptives available to adolescents. They called for restrictions on abortion. And at the same time, many other Americans who believed these changes were basically good, were basically promotive of human happiness, battled them. So for a decade, the bitterest political conflicts in American society turned on the institution of the family. Would we promote a new, more flexible, if less stable family unit? Or would we try to turn back the hands of time and reinstitute as best we could the more rigid and more stable family of the 1950s? Many Americans today are concerned that the kind of changes that occurred in American family life during the 1960s have exacted their greatest toll on children. The rising divorce rate, the influx of women into the workforce have all meant that children are growing up in a less stable environment than their parents did. Furthermore, they're growing up in a more permissive environment, saturated with sex, drugs, and crime. And so for many Americans, there's a concern that it's becoming increasingly difficult to grow up as a well-adjusted adult.
I mean, come on! Gen Z ringing any fucking bells, people? Come on, dude. It's all right here. All these shitty policies we enacted back then led to the crappy generations that we have now. Like, at the end of the fucking day, we're all a byproduct of a fucked up system, dude. We came from unstable families, fucking divorce right out the fucking wazoo, crap on TV. What do you expect, dog? Like, what you expect to come out of that crappy system? Fucking gold? No. Shit in, shit out, dude. Come on, man. Like, what you expect to come out of that crappy system? I mean, it's even worse now. There's fucking porn everywhere. There's fucking goddamn OnlyFans stops everywhere. Twitch stops everywhere. There's fucking, it never ends, dude. It's just gotten more degenerate over time. The people back then would look at this era and kids growing up right now and be like, "Oh my god, this is fucking horrible." What like they probably look at this and say that we people back then would come here if they had a time machine. They'd come here and say that we live in fucking hell.
That you're growing up in a very precarious environment where traditional social supports are breaking down.
Yeah, social supports are gone, dog. Social supports are fucking gone, dog. It's over. Like, there you go. The whole damn thing's a sham, dude. Like, the bottom is gone, boyos. It's gone. The fucking floor fell through a long time ago, and you're just you're just falling down a fucking goddamn hole now. You're just falling down the fucking hole at this point. You're falling down the hole. Like, you might have thought there was a floor there. Nah, dog. You've been falling the whole time. It just feels like you're like not falling anymore. It's like, what's going on? It's like a fucking wind tunnel. It's like, oh, like you're just kind of floating there. But it's like, am I falling or am I rising? I don't know, dude. Nah, dog. It's a fall. You were born in the pit on the way down.
And these are changes that people haven't grasped out of nowhere. There are tangible signs that the well-being of children may in fact be declining. The increasing visibility of eating disorders among young women, a tripling in rates of teenage suicide, declining test scores on college aptitude tests, rising crime among young people. To many Americans, both of the left and the right, there's a fear that the kind of changes that have taken place in American family life may have had catastrophic consequences for American children.
There you go, buddy boyos. There you go. All right. Yeah, I think I have a few more clips to play from this documentary I watched. If you want to look at that clip on your own with the I actually have that link. It's clipped to my YouTube page. If you go to my YouTube page, so I'll just grab it real quick. I can just give it to you guys. I actually put it on my discussion page on my YouTube channel, but I'll just grab it real quick and post it into the if you want to look at that one yourself. The guy's channel actually has the very same channel I got that from. Actually, has a bunch of
If one
it's David Hoffman. It's a pretty. I like his stuff. He has like a lot of like documentaries about the various eras. There's the link to the video, and yeah, dude, shit's fucked, dude. Shit is fucked. Someone said in the comment section, double the tax base, double the taxes, like stuff like that. It's very true. Very true. I'm not gonna put the stuff on the screen, by the way. I'm just gonna read the stuff, but I find it striking that already in 1957, women were overtaking college places versus men. I've seen this my whole life generation of women strongly outnumbered men in college university level. Yet there is a discontent that even if it's still not good enough, that somehow men have something better or more. Studies are quite clear in this. University degrees is a much better prospect in both quality and getting a job. Other than that, there's a lot of choices in life to make. No, the problem that you're running into is that these women get degrees in bullshit and then wonder why the fuck there's no job for bullshit. A lot of these people go to college for a lot of bullshit, and then they wonder, well, I graduated with a degree in fucking lesbian puppetry. Why is there no job for me? It's like, what do you mean? Like, what the fuck do you expect to happen, you dumb motherfucker? Like, come on, dude. You fucking stupid. Like, come on, man. Let's see. I think there was another comment I wanted to read here that was really good. There's like quite a few of these documentaries though that are like really fucking like it's crazy how yeah, it's just insane how things have gotten so fucking insane right now. Let's see. There's a lot of comments on here. Ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. Guess I'm old fashioned. I still like the idea of mom staying home, cooking, cleaning, taking care of the children, dad going off to work, making the living with the whole family. Times have certainly changed. I never was a feminist. Women were spoiled by it. I have realized that today both parents need to work just to make ends meet. Maybe depending on the lifestyle you live, maybe a person doesn't need that beautiful $2 million home with that Cadillac sitting on the drive. I've always lived an ordinary middle class life, not rich and poor, but who says you can't be fulfilled by being a mother? I'm quite fulfilled. Yeah, like once again, women like her are now denied the privilege of actually being a fucking, of being a mother at this point, of being a stay at home mom. Because women collectively said, not even collectively, probably a small minority of women said, I want to work a job. It's unfair that men get to work. Is bullshit. Divorce went from 37 to 57 to 60% between 1960 and 1970. Direct result of second wave feminism. Horrible thing with society and the nuclear family. Insidious thing that teaches women to hate their counterparts and so much more evil. Yeah, it's true. Yeah. I think I'm reading like duplicate comments here or some shit. What's going on? Either way. I feel like there was another comment I wanted to read, but yeah, another video I wanted to share. But this is crazy. Oh, there is one more I wanted to play. Where is it? Let me see if I can find it. It's a I can probably find it through this link here. Hold on, give me a sec, guys.
The parents
Yeah, I know you guys can hear that, but give me a sec. Let me find this video. Hold on, give me a sec, guys. Sorry, I know we're going silent here for a second, but give me a sec to find. Um, David Hoffman. Let me go to his channel real quick. Videos. Let me do a search real quick for, I think it's conservative. Yeah, here we go. This is like a pretty good one too, actually. Let me put this down. I know you guys can hear it. Let me put this back on the screen. Put this back on the screen. Here we go.
Saw was that there was a lot of liberal leftist activity on the campus. People who were articulate, bright, and very dedicated and very hardworking on their political agenda. In fact, there were some, I can't name names or anything, but there was a sense that there were a lot of these students on there who were almost like paid activists. And I'm talking about the University of Michigan. I don't know about other schools, but it was partly in reaction, my reaction to that you'd go across campus and there'd be political booths all over the place for promoting, socialist causes and also civil rights, which we can discuss that later. But there were, I think conservatives might have been more involved in the civil rights movement had it not appeared to some of us at the outset that it was being manipulated and maneuvered by some hardcore liberal leftist activists. I found some place where there were people doing something. The young Republicans at the University of Michigan were sort of a reflection of the National Party, in my view, then, sort of the Me Too Republicans. Democrats outnumber us, we're never going to win, so we might as well sound like Democrats, just say we can do what they can do better. That was not appealing to me. And in the face of all this activism at the University of Michigan, I was saying, where are the organizations and the individuals who can, with passion and conviction, articulate a conservative fundamental philosophy?
Even nowadays, dude, you go on the internet, like even the online spaces are dominated by people like Valsh, people like Destiny's not really particularly super duper far left. He challenges the lefties to some extent, but like even on online discourses this way as well. Like lefties tend to like dominate at least the mainstream spheres. So like you never actually get a real conservative pushback or opinion per se. And obviously Fox News is like still one of the biggest cable syndicated things in the world right now. But it's like this seems like on the grassroots level, though, like the left is far better at organizing organizing on the ground game level. That's what it seems like.
And carry this message. We would get into debates or shouting matches. There's an area at the University of Michigan, sort of a central area where all the kids walk through the center of campus called the diagonal. And we would have tables set up there trying to recruit members into YAF or College Young Republicans. And we got very involved in student government council elections. We through our support behind a conservative. Again, this was very unusual because so much of the dominating activism was on the liberal to left side, and then the rest of people were sort of moderate. So for a conservative to come forward, I mean, they looked at us like we were, cyclops or something. But
I want to ask you a question about that subject too, a separate question. I remember at the time being laughed at, specifically remember that feeling quite well, actually, in 1963. Describe yourself how the conservatives were treated by the activist left and liberals.
I can also tell you how they were treated by the academics, by the professors.
Tell me about that. The feeling of being a conservative. Because it's always spoken about, as you say, the activist left is always implying in the early 60s how hard it was.
Oh, baloney. I mean, I think a lot of that's baloney. Heck, they could close down Columbia University. They firebombed the University of Wisconsin laboratory, and the professors and the administrators sat on their hands.
What's changed? Nothing has changed. College student does something fucking retarded. He blows some shit up, goes out in town and rides the fucking town, and the administration does absolutely nothing. Nothing's changed. The exact same fucking policy. Nothing's changed. The only thing that's changed is the fucking people in charge. So, old boss, or I'm sorry, a new boss, same as the old boss.
They did nothing. They were cowed by these kids, students. I mean, those weren't activists. Those were destroyers. My recollection, and I'm glad you asked me this. I can't remember the teacher's name, and it's lucky for him. But when I was a student at the University of Michigan, a freshman, I wanted to major in political science. And I had a student teacher who was working on his master's. As often you would have, you go to a lecture hall of 500 kids, and then they break it up into recitation classes. Well, the recitation leader there, I remember very clearly, mocked me, laughed at me, really, in class. And I remember distinctly his talking about Marxist Leninism, and talked about Marx in the context of basically he was the second coming of Christ. And I remember him saying that, if not literally. He said it's almost as if, this philosophy is going to do so much for the masses. I mean, it's like the second coming of Christ. And this astounded me. I wasn't hurt. I mean, how do you get hurt by something like that? I mean, I was involved in this, not that for people to love and accept me. I was involved in it because I believed in it. I learned a great deal. It stimulated me intellectually. It was an opportunity to work for things that I cared about, and I could see things, that would have an effect. So if somebody laughed at me, I mean, I didn't take any of that personally. What angered and alarmed me, those are my words. It angered and alarmed me to sit in a classroom at a university that has one of the finest liberal arts schools in the country, and to, in essence, listen to this propaganda. And I'm going to say one thing briefly. I remember very clearly Bill Buckley's line about describing the liberals' definition of academic freedom. And what he said I experienced in that classroom at the University of Michigan. He said the liberals' idea of academic freedom is to expose the student to everything from Galbraith to Schlesinger. And he's absolutely right. I asked the professor, why aren't we studying, or why aren't you talking about the works of Friedrich Hayek, who later won the Nobel Prize in economics, Milton Friedman, Ludwig von Mises, Ortega y Gasset.
Oh, because those guys are inconvenient to the narrative. Like that's why. Like, come on. They're inconvenient facts that, if you bring up the opposition to your argument, all of a sudden it's like, oh yes, they have to like defend your shit now. It's like, oh crap. Well, yeah, of course not gonna bring up your people into their fucking discussion, unless they're gonna like knock them down like with like strawman arguments and shit like that. Come on.
Philosophers. Why are we talking all about Marxist Leninism as if this is the panacea for the problems of our age? You are not exposing us to these other thoughts. The idea of academic freedom, I did not experience that in a narrow sense in that classroom. Where I got exposure to a lot of these ideas and writers and thinkers was through my involvement in YAF. And because YAF was not only a political active organization, they were also very strong on the education side. You know where I had the greatest exposure to people that were different from my own background? And again, I grew up not thinking about my social, economic, or ethnic background. I mean, it's ridiculous. I thought of myself as an individual, part of a family, but we weren't stereotyping ourselves then as everybody seems compelled to do it now. But the way I met a lot of people from a wide range of backgrounds was through my political activism. In fact, I never really knew very many so-called blue-collar families. I came from a middle-class neighborhood of professionals and business people, some professors and so on. But it was not a community where there were a lot of people that, Joe Lunchpail went off to work at the factory or whatever. I came in contact with the sons and daughters of immigrants from Eastern Europe, from Latin America, Jews, very few blacks. Unfortunately, in Detroit, that's another area. That's one of the big failings of conservatives, and we can talk about that later. But that's where I really got to know people from a very different background, and their families. Some of them weren't very well educated. Some didn't even have high school diplomas, but they had that common sense. They knew. They didn't get all tangled up in their thinking. It was sort of straight line thinking based on a lot of good old common sense and experience and looking at history, and their children reflected that. And the children were very. I mean,
Yeah, this is something I was talking about yesterday. Where like the problem with being so smart is that like you can like intellectualize your way into like a lot of like weird positions. You can like defend anything to some extent if you can like as long as your internal logic is like consistent enough, you can like kind of like logic your way into believing bullshit as well. And like so sometimes it helps to like slow your mind down and kind of think about, okay, like what's like the most logical, straight to the point answer I can probably get to today, and not like go down a million rabbit holes to get to like some weird fucking answer that makes zero fucking sense to some extent.
my peers were very active with us, so it was a melting pot.
There you go. Did I play this clip already? I think I might have actually done it. Well, give me a sec. Let me
That seemed more in tune with their own aspirations.
Yeah, I think I did this clip already. But yeah, dude. Shit doesn't fucking nothing's changed, dude. Nothing's fucking changed. Oh, wait a second. What clip is this? Oh, give me a sec, guys. Let me mute the audio here for this.
One wanted to date away from parental control, and there was a very sharp during the 1950s. The value system tended to emphasize adjustment.
Ooh, this one's a good one. Give me a sec, guys. This is a pretty spicy clip, and then I'll open the chat up to let people in here. Let's see. There we go. Doop-a-doop-a-doo.
If one wanted to date when the women's movement began, I think one would start earlier than the mid-1960s. I think one might.
I think I did this clip already, right? Yeah, I think I did this clip. Fuck it. I'm not going to do it again. Because I think people miss this clip for sure. But either way, let's get people in here. Fuck it. Let's get the share the. Stop the screen. Ba-ba-ba. Invite link. Copy clipboard. Ba-ba-ba. Someone said Wiglet. Wiglet killed Bin Laden. Wiglet. The Wiglet. Pin message. All right, let's do this shit. Look up here and read some comments real quick. Let's see what people say. Feminism equals women getting bamboozled. To some extent, yeah. Preach. Laugh my ass off. Feminists say they can do it all, but when they want taxpayer money to fund their shit. Very true. Let's see. Excelsior ever upward. Yep. Ayo, it's my life, my time, my rights, my rhyme, my grind, my struggle, hustle, sweat, and my blood too. For real, they want their own money, but don't want to help around the house. But if you don't have their own money, they complain about that too, and always staying at home, cleaning and cooking. Yeah. And my motto, I want it all, and excess, sex, and much success, stress sucks. I want it all, no less. So come on. Mystery, I think there is a white pill in the future. We will reach barbarism and women will be forced to submit. I mean, if a nuclear holocaust hits, maybe we'll go back. But I don't know, man. History historically served women and men were equal. Yeah, probably. Yeah, very true. Lots call the male beauty standard for what they really are. Actually, I've actually been watching a lot of these pretty privileged videos. I guess I could do a clip on those because those are basically like, it's basically our fucking talking points. Like it's basically our talking points. It is sad how women can see this issue in relation to themselves, but they can't see it in relation to to men. What's that shit called? Let's look up pretty privilege. I guess I could watch at Steph Code's video. I don't know. It's a pretty good. Hers is by far the most popular one out of the few that are here. This is the one I watched. Let me hold on. Yeah, we'll just watch this one here. Oh my god, I hate the fucking opening shit people do in their videos. Get out of here with that shit. Fucking music and crap going on in the background and crap. Fuck that. I had to stream. Yeah, this is the chick who gets complaining about pretty privilege for obvious reasons. Yeah. Let's just go through this video here. Let me unmute the audio and
privilege is that you basically get treated better in life the more attractive you are. I think I've always been aware that it's out there. I've always been aware that people, specifically women, can use their looks as currency as they move through a patriarchal society. They can use it to get better mates. They can use it to get better jobs. They can use it to get jobs that regular looking females, regular looking women, I hate that I said females, who do I think I am? Regular looking women could never get, like being a hostess at an upscale club or, things of that nature. It didn't really bother me until I got a little older and I started to take stock of different things that I didn't have in my life, which I think we do all the time. People compare themselves to other people. It happens. And I started to just think about all the things in my life that probably would have been a little bit easier if I had some pretty privilege. So I want to make something clear before I go forward. I am not at all saying in this video that I find myself unattractive. I actually think of myself as a okay looking person, and I can really dial it up, when necessary. Here, by the way, is a picture of me celebrating my most recent birthday. But pretty privilege is not something that you yourself can decide that you have, if that makes sense. Like a lot of privileges, it's something that society just gives you based on what the systems of society already are, like before you even got.
Really, see, look, the principal problem with this issue and any issue in general, to some extent, it just kind of comes down to like you just hate nature. Like your battle is with nature itself. Like your battle is not with some like made up social construct. No. It's obviously not an issue. No, your problem is inherently with evolutionary biology and nature. You just don't like the fact that men are attracted to fit, generally good looking women at the end of the day. And it goes for men too to some extent as well. Like incels just are unhappy that hey, the standards for women have gotten higher and higher and higher, and that hey, I'm being left behind, and that especially if you're sub 4, sub 3, you're just unhappy that you lost the fucking lottery at the end of the fucking day. You lost the lottery. It's true. Now, for women though, women always have the option to date down. They just don't want to do it. But they have the option to date their looks match and down, but they just don't want to do it. And obviously she's going to get into that stuff later on in this video.
There. So no matter how confident I might be, no matter how much I might spend on a certain type of wig or a certain makeup application style, I'm never going to have pretty privilege. And it does bother me. And I wanted to be honest about it. I think so often, especially with Black women, we're told to just, keep your head up, sis. Don't drop your crown, sis. Oh, no, not you, sis. You strong. You beautiful. But because of that, there's really no space sometimes just to say, ouch, like that hurts my feelings. It hurts that I'll never dot, dot, dot. And especially for something as superficial as just the way that I look. So I wanted to take a moment in this.
But that's the problem, though, I have of like the way that you look is not necessarily like it's superficial if it's like okay at first sight, but like you can glean a lot about a person just by the way that they fucking look. Like if somebody's dressed like a fucking hobo, you wouldn't be it wouldn't be dumb for you to assume that maybe they're fucking homeless. I got private chat message. Who the fuck is this? Who is this? She looks like my aunt who smokes Newports. Fuck. I don't know who you are. That's the problem. Oh, I was like, who is this guy? Who the fuck is MB Dark? I don't know who you people are. I forgot where the fuck I was going with that, but yeah, like effectively though, like the problem is with like nature. These people have a problem with like fundamental nature.
Video and talk about my experience in life, not having pretty privilege. And I really made this video for anybody that feels the same way. I know I'm not the only person. I've read articles online and I've seen comment sections where I know I'm not the only person. However, I know right now a lot of the videos on YouTube about pretty privilege are just people breaking down what it is. Or people saying, hey, you may not feel like you have pretty privilege, but you do. I'm not going to do that here. I'm just going to be honest about my experiences. And yeah. Okay, so the first thing I want to talk about when it comes to pretty privilege is I want to talk about just the different things I noticed that really started to bother me that I'd never experienced just as a woman because I don't have pretty privilege. So I showed you guys that picture earlier of me on my birthday. And that picture is important to me because that picture kind of set off this whole idea of wanting to make this video. I never before really participated in any of these stereotypical rituals of going out and dressing up a certain way. And that's because I discovered at a really young age that when I'm at the club, I'm going to be paying for my own drinks. I was not the type.
Yeah, but that's the thing though. Like, it's not a right. It's not like It's not so much like, yeah, sure, you have to pay for your own drinks, but like the fact that you're even expecting to have your drinks paid for to begin with is like shows just how easy you fucking and how easy that women even have it to begin with. You get free shit just by fucking breathing air and existing. So the fact that you walk in with that expectation even just should show you like, maybe there's a problem with society here to some extent.
A woman that men would fight over, that men would really even approach. So early in my life, I was like 22, 23, and for sure at 25, I decided I wasn't going to go out anymore. So all of my outings, all of my fun, like let's get together, all of those things happened at bars and pubs. A lot of the times places where I knew that nobody who I would be attracted to would be there. And I did that as a defense mechanism, right? I knew if I dress up and I go out to a certain place and I'm ignored, it's going to hurt my feelings. So I didn't want to do that. However, for this birthday, I decided, you know what? I've been watching YouTube tutorials for years. I'm going to lay a lace front wig. I'm going to do my brows. I'm going to get a dress off of Fashion Nova. Whatever you feel about Fashion Nova, trust me, I feel it too. I have thoughts. But outside of the clothing that they make that is meant to accentuate unrealistic body types, they have some beautiful and very well priced things as well. So I'll just say I'm not a huge fashion person. I don't have a lot of disposable income. I know there's places out there that I can shop and do, but for me, I went to them and I got this gorgeous dress. I'm gonna show here. Loved it. It fit the theme of my party, which was mermaid because I'm a Pisces. And yeah, I felt really pretty that night. And I remember walking into the restaurant just feeling like, and my friend even got me like a little crown. And I remember walking into the restaurant and just feeling like, okay, like if anybody is going to notice me, it's going to be tonight wearing this. I walked in and there was a group of guys sitting down at a table. All guys looked like they were single guys. You can never tell, but they were around my age, so mid 30s, early 30s. And I walked in and not a single person turned around to make eye contact with me. Nobody budged. I was looking kind of around the restaurant, like you feel really pretty. So you're kind of looking just to see if anybody's,
Like, look at the mindset, boyos. Look at the mindset. She's like, oh, is anybody looking at me? They need the attention, boyos. It's constantly got to be there. God dang. Who can I add to stream? Fuck it. I got 4 comments. What the fuck, dude? I don't. This MD Dark guy has no fucking connection to my device. Not connected. So you're just gonna get kicked out of here, dude. I can't have you in here. Sorry. I mean, I don't know what to tell you, dude. You can join later if you get your fucking mic together, but fuck it. K3, what's up, K3? K3? Fuck's going on? Okay, well, I don't know. Okay, what's going on? Anyway.
all eyes on me, that kind of thing. And nobody's eyes were on me. Nobody cared. And so I immediately humbled myself and I was like, okay, well, maybe people are just trying to eat. Maybe these guys, I think that they're single guys and they're around my age, but maybe actually they're dads who get this one night out a week and they have wives at home and they're just not worried about me like that. Okay, cool. I will take all of my expectations and push them down, right? My friend walks in a little bit later. She's definitely lighter skinned. She is half Creole, Haitian, half white. And I actually, when I first saw her, I didn't even know she identified in any way as Black. Like there was no way for me to tell. I didn't see it at all. But she was like, "Oh yeah, I'm Black." She's of mixed race, and she dyes her hair blonde, or either it's naturally blonde. So it's tough to kind of be able to phenotypically say, "Oh, that's a Black girl." Like she definitely is somebody who I actually thought she was Hispanic. That's what I thought, and I know she's married to a Mexican man, but I thought she was Hispanic. She also has a decent sized chest, and she walked in and she had the girls out and, just her natural face, and she had her hair up in this beautiful ponytail. All those men that I like 5 minutes before had been like, oh, they're busy. That's why they didn't look at me. They were like, all eyes were on her, not even the dudes. There were people in booths or people like everybody turned to look at this girl. And I said, there it is. There's pretty privilege. The ability to walk into a room and know you didn't waste one bit of makeup, one, hair.
Look, here's the problem though. Why is that wrong? Like, why is having a advantage wrong? Like, that's the problem I oftentimes have with like a few like ideologies to some extent. Like, I'm not gonna name them, but like a lot of ideologies that stem off this idea of like you have an unfair advantage because X, Y, and Z. It's like, okay, but like, why is that wrong? Like, especially in the case of something like a lookism or even being born wealthy to some extent. Like, you're just born into that household and you happen to have those advantages. You just won the lottery, and these people basically say it's unfair. But it's like, yeah, but so what? It's like it's a roll of the dice, and I happen to win. Like, why is that wrong? Like, why is that not okay?
Yeah, like for real. They need to deal with it.
You sound like you're in a fucking wind tunnel, my dude.
Oh yeah, I'm on the inside.
Yo, what's happening, boyos?
What's going on?
Not good, just cooling, usual. But yeah, she looks like the girl from the Popeyes commercial. Not gonna lie.
My God.
She probably likes Popeyes, that's for sure.
Oh God.
Love that chicken from Popeyes at 2 for $20 deal. Calm down.
Well, don't forget, guys. She still mogs you guys to oblivion. So.
Oh yeah, for sure.
She looks like one of my aunts who smoke Newports.
All right, put this guys back on mute again. So, Play
your
this video.
roller one, you didn't waste it. You're gonna go out and people are gonna notice. And she actually met her husband. I have a lot of friends who aren't married. And so, and they, unlike me, they still think they're going to get married. No shade at all to them, but I know like the likelihood of me getting married is so low that I don't even ask. I used to ask people, well, how did you meet your husband? I don't even ask anymore. I'm just like, oh, good for you. But they all asked her, they were like, how'd you meet your husband? How'd you meet your husband? And I think she was confused because she was like it's hard, and honestly, she met the dude just at a bar. He came up to talk to her, Of course he did, right? So when I experienced that event, I was like, wow, I'm still not good enough, even all dressed up like this. Then I went out to a lounge a little bit later, walked in. Nobody made eye contact with me. Nobody. Men have always sort of regarded me as, oh, she's there, and kept it moving.
Yeah, and for an incel, he literally doesn't fucking exist. It's not even like they wouldn't even acknowledge your fucking existence, dog. If anything, they'd be like, "Get the fuck away from me!" Like, come on. Like the incel experience for men is far different from the female experience of just flat out like at least people acknowledge that you were there. The incel existence is like, get the fuck away from me, or rather like you don't even like matter at this point.
Black girls have it pretty bad, right? Like,
yeah, from a dating market perspective, they do have it pretty bad.
Yeah, I think they're the worst, like, out of all.
Yeah, it's absolutely true. Statistically speaking, me, Mr. School, our black men actually did out 50% more compared to the women in the West, which I don't know why.
Yeah, I think black men have it better.
Keep going here.
And it didn't change just because I had dressed myself up. I'd finally done everything a girl is supposed to do, right? And I still wasn't good enough. So I came home and I had a great night out with friends, but my heart was I was hurting because I was like, I'm always going to be invisible, even if I try. So I actually got on YouTube and started looking for pretty privilege. And that's how I found out that there are videos out there. There are videos out there with people that have a much different perspective. And then there was a video of a TikTok trend. This girl was like, oh, I'll just show it to you.
Tell me you have pretty privilege without actually telling me that you have pretty privilege. I'll start this off. I don't get ID'd.
So after sharing her story about not getting ID'd, which by the way, I've gotten kicked out of the Apple store before because someone thought that my driver's license was not my actual driver's license. They were right. I've been removed from clubs when I was underage. Like once I was at a club in DC with these two girls and they found out we were underage or I was underage and they kicked us all out. And it was me. I was the one black girl and I was with two white girls. And the white girl turned around to me and she goes, I thought I thought they'd let us stay in there because we were with you. And I just looked at her and I said, that's how it goes for me. Like, I don't get special treatment. And when I saw the video that this kid made, it made me, I swear to God, I had like secondary trauma just from watching it and just thinking back at all the times that I've had terrible times in nightclubs because people are very, very clear with me. You are not special. And then people started adding on to her TikTok trend, right? They started telling their stories, when I go out, I never have to pay for drinks, or guys always buy my drinks and my friends' drinks. So my friends know when they go out with me, they're drinking for free. There were girls who were talking about, when I go out, when I'm on social media, I constantly wake up with money in my Venmo and in my Cash App because dudes are just sending me money.
Now, first things first, that shit right there is fucking sad. Okay, the amount of simping. The simping could not be worse. I'll put it like that. Like the simping has reached like maximum fucking overdrive at this point. If you're just sending a woman money for simply fucking existing and breathing fucking air, I don't know what to tell you, man. You're just a fucking cuck at that point. Like you're a dumb motherfucker. You fucking deserve to
Yo, Mystery School.
Just talk, dude.
Hello, can you hear me? There are actually young Zoomer men who are in their 20s who are now homeless because they've been taking all their rent money and giving it to OnlyFans girls. I'm not lying.
Yeah, I believe it at this point.
There's men who'd rather be homeless than not simp.
Yeah, it's just crazy. Anybody have anything to add?
Sorry, another thing I want to add That girl's talking about how bad she had it at the club and how bad she had it in dating. Imagine if she was a male. Imagine her being a 5'7", 5'8" black dark skin dude who's not thug maxed. How hard the dating market would be for her.
Yeah, well, I mean, men and women kind of process things differently for sure, obviously, but like she just has no like perception or like even an inkling of a clue of like what the average like
Exactly.
not even talking about black men, just men in general have to go through to get any sort of attention from women. So like,
yeah, if she woke up, if you changed one chromosome, she ended up just like Baraka.
K3, you have anything to add? Or you want to keep it quiet?
Sorry, dude. I'm busy at the moment.
Okay, and kind of Woodlands, you have anything to add?
Yo, hi.
What's up, dude?
What's going on?
I'm watching this video, my dude. What's going on?
Yeah, I was anticipating facing the LMS stream, but yeah, his internet.
It died in mid-flight. Apparently.
10 minutes and it was over.
Yeah. All right, let's keep going here. Let's keep playing this video here.
I really was bothered by that because every guy I've ever met, I always feel like he's the bottom of the barrel when it comes to money. And let me tell you something. I grew up being very well taken care of. So I'm always, I talked about it in my Saweetie and Quavo video. And if you haven't seen it, it's on my channel. But I'm always going to be suspicious of transactional relationships where, I never expect a man to just take me on a shopping spree. I never expect, I'm actually very giving. I'm very, I always make sure I'm employed. I have, when I was young, I would refuse to even get in a relationship with a dude unless I was working a full-time job. Like that's how hard I am on myself about bringing something to the table. But to know that there are women.
But the problem with that though, that men don't give a fuck about your fucking job. Men don't care. It's always been about the fucking looks, my dudes. It always has been, especially for women. We don't give a fuck about your fucking job if you're bringing a fucking paycheck to the table. We give a fuck first and foremost about, hey, are you fertile? Are you good looking? Okay, what's going on in the back and the front? Okay, that's all we give a fuck about. Okay, like all the rest of this shit, like career is like cope for women because they think that like they can like somehow like by getting a career, men are gonna be like, wow, you have a master's degree, holy shit. No man in the fucking face of mankind has ever fucking said that shit, dude. Ever. Doesn't happen. Doesn't fucking happen.
Women that just wake up in the morning and go check their social media accounts and there's thousands of dollars in there just because they're pretty. It really messed with me. So I saw about my life just not having pretty privilege. And like I want to be honest about some of the things that I've experienced because so I mentioned my dating a little bit, how I always kind of find dudes that are not willing to spend the money or they don't have the money. And while I do think part of that is because I'm uncomfortable with transactional relationships, I think another part of that is because men who consider themselves to be high earners, they consider themselves to be high value men. They're looking for high value women. This is why someone like Lori Harvey or Sierra or even a Cassie, they're not role models to me and they never were. I know like when Sierra got with Russell, there was all this talk about, oh girl, what prayer did you pray? What prayer? I could sit up here all day. I could live 24 hours a day in a convent just praying to Jesus. Please, please. I honestly believe that there are certain levels in society and certain men at certain levels are looking for
like what do you mean you honestly believe that? Like any idiot can look at objective reality and say, hey, there's a hierarchy of things. Like the fucking Honda Accord is not the same as the fucking Ferrari. And there's a hierarchy of everything. Everything is in a fucking hierarchy. Like the fact that she even had to like that this is like a big realization for her or anybody for that matter is pretty sad to me to some extent. Like I think that the equality narrative really got to a lot of people in the last since we've been pushing this like the fucking 60s and 70s. Like this whole idea of equality got to a whole lot of people, especially when it comes to human beings. People cannot accept the fact that like human beings, everything exists on a hierarchy. There's the top tier and there's this bottom tier. Okay, and you're somewhere probably not in the top, lady. You're probably somewhere towards the bottom. Like everybody knows that there's people who are good at things and people who are bad at things. Like you shouldn't need a fucking like study or a fucking case study or a fucking thing to know that. But people do need that. Hierarchy exists. Oh my god, what happened? I didn't know that people weren't equal. Oh my god, what the fuck's wrong with you? Like fucking stupid. You gotta be fucking stupid.
A certain type of woman. Sierra was not just your regular, degular, schmegular girl. Okay, she's not a 7th grade English teacher from, nowhere city, the United States. I'm just being honest. Sierra is gorgeous. She's 5'10. She's a model. She is a Grammy winning or Grammy nominated recording star. I'm not sure if she has a Grammy, but she's a recording star. Her husband even said, Russell even said, I found her and I knew I wanted her when I saw that Ride video that she made. So he connected with her because she was starring in her own music video. You know what I'm saying? Like, so Sierra's not a regular person. So whenever anybody says, oh, what prayer did you pray? I'm like, there are women living on that Sierra level. Like, there are women who are able to get that kind of man. It's not me because I don't have that kind of privilege, but it's happening. Same thing with Lori Harvey. Like, I don't believe in, I will admit when a woman is beautiful. I'm not a jealous person, but I am a self-preservation person. So for example,
I don't know. When people say they're not jealous people, I almost immediately assume you're fucking jealous. Like, you know damn well that you would switch spots with fucking Sierra in a heartbeat if you were offered that. You know damn well, and to some extent, that like, oh shit, like if I could have what she had, I would take it. So, like, yeah, there's a little bit of a tinge of jealousy to some extent when you're talking about comparing yourself to other people. Let me unmute people here because I'm had people on mute because your fucking mics are going fucking crazy. Let me unmute everybody here. Okay, everybody's unmuted. Make sure you mute yourself when I'm playing the video because like some people's mics are fucking sound like fucking static land or some shit. So anybody have anything to add?
Yes.
Go ahead, whoever.
Yeah, when she was talking about pretty privilege, when she had example when she talked about pretty privileges, and you were talking about simps earlier and how like simping is just you're pathetic, you're a fucking cuck if you simp. I know dudes who literally like. Can I tell you a story about an example of simping from one of my coworkers?
I don't want to hear stories. I just want to hear commentary. So I don't want to hear a long story.
Okay, sorry.
Nothing, so.
I'm not. It's gonna be pretty short. I'm gonna be pretty short with it. This dude brought an Uber gift card for this girl that he liked, and wanna know what she did with it?
But threw it away. I don't fucking used it.
She went all the way to Framingham to go fuck Chad.
Hey man, it's what it is, right? That's what you get. K3, anything to add, my dude? Nothing. All right, K3, we're good. Kind of Woodlands, anything to add, my dude? Nothing to add. Kind of Woodlands. All right, we're good. Let's keep going.
I won't hang out with a certain type of person, or when I was younger, I wouldn't hang out with someone if I knew that when she goes out, guys are all over her. Because I had a friend who that was the case. And when I tell you, I used to get like one time a dude stepped on my foot and hit me with his elbow to get to her. Not on purpose. He was just moving so fast, like knocked me out of the way. I was nothing. I've been in situations where I've had to just go sit by myself while my friend is being entertained or entertaining someone. And nobody talks to me the whole night. So I don't like being left out. I don't like it being very, very clear that they're only talking to me because I'm with the hot one. So I would never hang out with a Lori Harvey. You know what? Let me back up. I would go with her to like get a coffee. Absolutely. I would go shopping in the mall. Yes. I would even go have an early dinner. So things that are low pressure socially, where it's not going to be just so clear that one of us is really, really, hot and the other one isn't. Because I've been in those situations, right? Where if you don't have pretty privilege, it just feels like you're completely invisible. And I hate that. Just talking about.
Fact, it's definitely a pretty well-known fact that women bring around their fat friend, like it's like the whole fat friend meme. They bring around their fat friend, or they bring around their other friends who aren't as attractive to them because it makes them look better in comparison. Just obviously, like whenever I go to the gym, what you end up having is like you'll oftentimes see a fat chick with a skinny chick, and it's like, okay, I know what's going on here. I know what you're doing. It's just funny. It's funny to see it though. You know what I mean? Like really, it's funny to see it in real life to some extent. So.
My dating life, I do definitely feel like as a woman who doesn't have pretty privilege, because when I go out, men aren't like, their red flags aren't up for me. They're not looking for me. I often am invisible, I'm ignored, and I feel like it's a lot of the reason why I have such a small amount of relationship experience at my old age. It's like I'm not there. I'm the invisible woman. And I also think it's why I developed such a loud mouth. I have people all the time tell me, "Oh my God, you're so loud, you're so animated, you're so." I have to be so that I matter. One of the things that women can do when they have pretty privilege is just be there and they matter. They can just be standing there. They can do a little laugh and all, but and they're the greatest thing in the world. Whereas me, I got to come with the jokes. I got to come with stories. I got to come with support. I got to do so much more.
Yeah, what she's describing there is that like it's kind of like the overweight chick who, the overweight chick who's like she might be like a 9 underneath the fat, but she's so fat to where like she's been so fat for so long that when she loses the weight, she kind of loses her personality because she no longer needs it. Like basically some of the almost like some of the best women to actually talk to are some of the uglier looking women or women who are like overweight because like they're forced to actually kind of develop a personality and like in response to like not being quote unquote attractive or being attractive rather. So like it is what it is. It's just kind of funny how like she's just kind of spelling it out though. But it's true. Like a lot of women were like, who are fat or overweight, they do tend to have very, very animated personalities and that's like tend to be somewhat interesting to some extent,
Basically, they're forced to be men.
Yeah, effectively, Jag. Yeah, that's basically, yeah, you're right.
I mean, the thing about all you describing is a dude like, oh, they gotta be entertained and all that shit.
Yeah,
you have to be. If you don't have inherent worth, you have to have some sort of display of it. So,
yeah,
Jack, no go back. I'm gonna piggyback off what you said. You have to compensate for your SMV, basically.
Yeah. Yes, dick is negative points. You have to make up for that shit.
Yeah, so if you're a sub 4 male or a sub 3 male, you have to compensate for that, or by either A, gesture maxing, which I don't recommend gesture maxing, because it makes you look like a fucking ass, or B, being low inhib, which I don't recommend either. It's sad but true.
Yeah.
Just to matter. For example, the other week I was on a plane. That's right, during this pandemic time, but I received both my vaccination shots and everyone was wearing a mask. So, whatever. But I'm on a plane and I was flying back to LA for something. And this guy got on the plane with me and we had connected. And by connected, I just mean we'd been standing in the same spot in the airport a couple different times. And every time we'd been standing in the same spot, he didn't really look at me, didn't smile at me. Oh, by the way, I 100% feel, I'll talk about my relationship like with men, but Steve Harvey said a couple weeks ago, he's not really friendly with women unless he wants to date them. And everybody gave him such a hard time. He didn't lie. That's a lot of men. But anyway, so me and this guy, we had been standing in the same place a lot of the time. And he didn't really look at me, didn't smile at me, didn't give me any kind of special treatment, right? He gets on the plane and I'm sitting here, he's sitting here, he gets on after me and he sits down next to this girl and she had her mask on, but he's a black man and I was black. I'm black, he's black. This girl was not black. And I'm only saying that because I think darker skinned black women that aren't pretty, we pay like double the tax, right? And again, I'm not saying I personally feel that way about myself. I think I look fine. But based on the way I'm treated in society, I know I don't have pretty privilege.
I mean, like, you think you look fine, but like, I don't know. Like,
can I cook? Can I cook this bitch? Can I cook, please?
Don't cook too much. My God, what's up? Where are you at?
No, sorry, it's a car driving by. Dudes are smoking blunts and hanging outside.
I was like, where the fuck are you? I thought like you're like out in the middle of the street.
No, I'm by the window. I'm just watching homeless people sleeping outside. Like usually.
Bruh, you sound like you live in GTA 5. God damn.
She found out about the ethnic.
God damn.
Yeah.
Bruh, all she's literally just explaining the black pill. Like, this is like 50 minutes of lookism.
Yeah.
I would expect this shit from Incel TV. Like, honestly.
Facts, bro. Giant Knuckle back. She said that darker skinned black women pay a tax to society. Imagine if we switched that chromosome. She was a dark skinned, non-thug max black male.
Obviously she'd be here. So like that's
facts.
All right, there's the rest of it.
And she also tend to focus on their skin color so much, And like for men, it definitely affects them. But for women, though, I don't know. Like it's definitely a factor that definitely can affect the way people perceive you. It also comes down to like if your features on your face aren't, like basically face and LMS, if your face isn't attractive, it just knocks you down a million pegs from the get go. Like there's plenty of decently attractive dark skinned women, but they have the face to back it up. Like if you just have the standard Bantu looking face, I think people say that's a language group, but like the standard looking West African phenotypes, so you're just not gonna have it. Like it is what it is.
But think about it though, she still has all sorts of options. She just doesn't like the options she has. That's why I keep on saying to people, like, there's a pack of dicks for every woman. They just might not like the pack of dicks they get, but they're still there. She talks about all the men that go after me don't have money.
Would any of you guys date her? I wouldn't. I'll be the first one to admit that shit. I wouldn't.
Bro, no cap. Why the hell we date feminists, man?
Why would the fuck would want to date my aunt?
Yeah, but like realistically, though, without joking, would you really date her?
Nah, dude. A lot of black chicks have been nasty to me. Even the ones that I'm like, I never dated one, but the ones who I've known in my life, other than my mother and my sister, have treated me very poorly, like extremely poorly. Like get dudes to fight me poorly.
Also, we talking about dating or fucking because dating is cock.
Yeah.
All right, let's keep going.
So I think darker skinned black women that don't have pretty privilege, we pay double the tax. But anyway, and by double the tax, I just mean people are already going to write you off for so many things, and I consider those write-off as taxes. So you go into a situation for the first time and you're a woman, people might write you off. They might underestimate you. You go into the situation, you're a black woman, oh gosh, they might write you off. You're a dark-skinned black woman, now you're not even aesthetically pleasing. And then especially if you don't have pretty privilege, so I feel like I call those taxes, and I feel like the more things you have against you in a situation, the more tax you have to pay. Anyway, so he sits here, and so I sit here. He walks down a little bit further. He sits here next to this girl who is not African American. I think she was like Latina. She might have been Indian, something. She was like a lighter skinned woman, and she had like this curly hair, and she had a mask on, but you could tell from her eyes, like you could tell facial structure, you could tell she was pretty, right? So the guy he had said nothing to me the whole day. He immediately turns to her and starts making conversation. Within 2 minutes, she had his job that he does, his name. They connected on social media, and she was invited to a party in the Hollywood Hills that night. I lived in LA for 3.5 years. I went to a party in the Culver City Hills because I had a friend who lived there. I was never invited. And I thought about this, and I said, this is the kind of thing that can happen to you in Los Angeles if you have this kind of pretty privilege. It can. I used to have a friend, I did improv classes with her, and she was like, oh my gosh, yeah, guys stop me on the street when I'm driving, and they'll pull me over, and they want to talk to me, and they're like CEOs or this. When I tell you, most of the traumatic dating experiences I had in LA were because I was only matching with people who were like pizza delivery drivers. And no shame on those careers, but normally a guy that's in his 30s that's a pizza delivery driver, he is what the internet would call, he is down bad, as the internet would say. And also it's a person that doesn't really have a lot of ambition. I noticed that a lot of men with real ambition, like they wanted to go out and become directors and creators, and they had just like powerful minds and hearts. They're also really chasing after a thing of beauty. And so,
yeah, like once again, it comes down to like, you don't like your place in the hierarchy. You don't like your
literally
place in the
just
world.
mad she's not Stacy.
Yeah, like you don't like your place in the hierarchy. Like nobody, unless you're at the top, you don't like you're obviously people at the top love the place in the hierarchy. And if you're at the bottom, you're probably too fucking unself-aware to know you're at the bottom of the hierarchy. But people in the middle or people close to the bottom hate their spot in the hierarchy, and they wish they were somebody else. And yeah, as Jack said, she wishes she was Stacy or the black equivalent to Stacy at the end of the day. Like, she wishes she was Sierra. Or like, come on now, like come on.
Jack Nickelback and Mystery. Another thing I want to talk about is Incel TV said it the best. The uglier or less attractive a woman is in society, the more hate and malice she has towards her looks match. You know what I'm saying by that?
Yeah, I'm kind of saying that.
Yeah, and like for in her particular, and I think for women though, it kind of comes down to this: like, if you are unattractive, you're probably not going to be able to get the the upper tier men who may make a lot of money or who do different things. Like at the end of the day, it's just not going to happen for you. You're not gonna get that. So like at the end of the day, like it's almost like for women, definitely for women, your looks, and even for men actually in general, your looks decides almost like where you fall when it comes to economics, where you fall in the form of the dating market, and where you fall in the social hierarchy. Like whether you like it or not, like looks play such a huge fucking part of that, dude. It's insane.
But even for average women, like this, all you have to do if you're an average woman is like lose weight, get some wife skills, and get around the proper social circle, and you actually could get Chad. Like, that's the fucked up thing about it. Like effort actually works for women. It don't work for dudes all the time, a lot of the time. But for women, like you could almost universally say, just do the work.
So you think this girl here could get a decent looking Tyrone?
Yeah.
Realistically, like a dude in the NBA is gonna settle for her when he
Not
has
being the NBA, but
when he has a million other options, or like like a dude who's like a CEO of a company is gonna settle for her when he has a million other
necessarily
options.
A super Chad, but maybe a Chad light.
She can get maybe a
dudes
Tyrone
did
light,
down. Like dudes are hypogonous. Like they got a lot more variance. I'm not saying it's an absolute, but I'm saying like it could conceivably happen, even if it's like a low probability.
You know, like if you look at the hierarchy I made for black men, I have like Lawrence, and I have the Stringer Bells being like at the very top of that, Tyrone, and you have Lawrence, and then you have various other tiers. You might be able to get like a Mark or a Lawrence or something like that, or maybe even a Carlton. She's not going to get like the top tier Tyrone who's like somewhat thugged out, but he's like somewhat kind of debonair and whatnot. It's not going to happen. Like, but I think I Caxton probably has it right. Not Tyrone, but an average will wifer for sure. Yeah,
I say if she did all that, what I said, she could conceivably get an above average if she's around them all the time. Certainly not super dude, but above average man. Like,
I mean, especially
not Superman, but like AAS on his chest. I don't know.
I mean, especially if she lost. I think you said you lose weight, right? You just say that, right?
Yeah.
But they won't do that though. They won't do the most Western. 40% of all Black Western women are big as fuck, as Base Pluto would say. They don't want to lose weight because of our low ass standards that we have as Black men. Some ass nigga will wipe that up.
Yeah, like one, that's just Western women. They're just ahead of the curve, and two, they're not trying to bring themselves up, except for a few that's on Kevin Samuels and shit. Most of the time, the strategy is to bring you down.
I mean, the way I view it is like you kind of attract what you are to some extent. Like you sort of attract like in general, like what you kind of go out with and what you attract is like sort of like a representation of like what you are. So if all she attracts is a bunch of dusty ass fucking dudes, well, it might be some sort of indication that hey, maybe you aren't the hot shit that you think you are, and maybe you don't actually deserve.
No,
like,
she knows that shit. That's why she hates it.
Yeah.
They like you judge it. Women judge themselves by the pack of dicks that comes after them. Like that's their baseline.
Yeah.
Her baseline is a Safeway.
Oh my god, let's keep going.
If you're not that as a woman, I feel like you get men who don't have the ambition. They don't have those minds. They don't have those hearts. They're really just taking whatever. I also feel like that's why I ran into a lot of people who just wanted to keep it casual. I feel like I wasn't good enough. They're still looking for that bright star, that woman that's going to make them open up on a random flight, And so I definitely feel that when you're dating and you don't have pretty privilege, it just takes away from the magic of it. I have a friend who met her husband. I've talked about this before, but she literally said he looked across the room and was like, "What is that? Who is that?" And they're married to this day, expecting their second child. It was love at first sight. When you don't have pretty privilege, you don't get love at first sight. I'm saying pretty privilege. And I'm using...
When you're in Incel, you don't get love at all. It's true. You get nothing. So, I don't know. I'd rather have the possibility of love is better than quite literally zero. So. Continue.
It in the sense of you're not a person that people are going to treat differently because of the way that you look, and I'm not. But another way that it affects you is obviously like your work, right? I know that in workplaces, a lot of times I'm not able to get away with certain behavior that other women are able to get away with because people look at me and they're like, "Oh, wow, she's just got a strong personality." I don't have a strong personality and a beautiful face. I also noticed that women who are beautiful, I noticed that people are just naturally nicer to them. They get projected upon with all of these positive characteristics, where someone like me, I have to work to get people to think about me positively. I have to come up with all new plans for doing something.
Hey, it's the Halo effect. What do you know? It's back. It's our old friend, the Halo effect. Hey.
Welcome to hold up.
Yeah.
Welcome to being a guy in 2021.
No, she's nowhere close. She just feels like she's literally mad she can't cheat like prettier women can. To that
Yeah,
level.
you're right. Yeah.
Like, oh, I don't get away with as much. Men don't say that shit.
Dude.
We say we can't get treated fairly. She's saying she can't get away. She can't cheat.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
privilege is real. I know, like, dude, you know how many times I've seen like black Stacy's or Blaze's, or what do you want to call them, like mouth off the cops, spit on cops, hit cops when they're drunk outside the club fighting, and the cops don't shoot them. You switch one chromosome, what will happen? The guy did that shit. If you're average,
fucking hashtag.
If you're average, exactly, hashtag on Twitter. So she's now getting a small taste, a small little crumb of what the average guy goes through in 2021. But it's not the full thing.
No, bro. I understand where you're coming from, but she's nowhere near. No, her position is completely unrelatable to you.
Yeah, if the average woman,
she's basically the equivalent of a Chad Light. She has a whole bunch of average options, but she doesn't have top tier options. If a dude's like that, we think he got it going on. If a chick's like that, she's fucking up.
Oh, of course. And like I told Black Pill J this: if the average woman woke up the next morning as a guy, your average 9 to 5, 4 out of 10, 5 out of 10 dude in 2021, they'd kill themselves one weekend. They wouldn't be able to handle it.
Man, that'd be the first and last sunrise they would see. That's it.
Yeah, but keep playing, Mr. School. I'm done with my rambling.
Let's keep continuing. Let's go.
To create, it's a good and bad thing. The first thing is that it forces me to constantly be innovating and pushing forward. The bad thing is that I never feel like, just in my own skin, I'm enough to be accepted. Because for a lot of people, I'm not, So yeah, and I also note that when you work in a workplace with men, co-ed workplace, and you are a woman, you get treated a lot differently if you're considered beautiful. No matter how much I did at the job I used to have, I was never the person that they wanted to run to help. I was never a damsel in distress. The people that helped me were the kids that I worked with. Hey, can we help you? Do you need anything? We see that you're doing this by yourself. Can we help? The guys that I worked with would never come to my rescue. And I pull out the guys because the other people I worked with would be like, oh, I just asked Mr. So-and-so. Oh yeah, he came and helped me. Oh yeah, they were all, but I never got that kind of treatment. And so those types of things hurt. It does hurt. I'm going to finish this up talking about the Steve Harvey thing. So Steve Harvey came out and said, I don't have any female friends, and I'm not friends with females because then I'll think about wanting to date them. And so much uproar happened, especially on Twitter. And I was kind of like, why are people pretending that this isn't a thing? Like that it's not a very real personality type. And not necessarily that it's right, but it happens all the time. I don't have any male friends. I don't. There was a time in my life where I only had gay male friends because it was like safe.
Okay, so let me clarify this. The friendships weren't just born out of my need for safety, although they did help me stay emotionally safe, if that makes sense, for a very long time. But they were also born out of the fact that I was involved in a lot of artistic things. I was in music, I was in theater, I was a cheerleader. And those relationships were the most supportive. They were creative relationships. They were, like I said, artistic. They were humorous. They were funny. They were wonderful, wonderful experiences. So I definitely wasn't friends with gay men just because I felt safe, even though I did feel really, really safe. But within that safety, I also felt just super accepted. I was always being told I was beautiful. I felt like an extension of the way my father would love me, with no added expectation of me needing to give them something romantically, which is what made what happened eventually in one of those relationships such a nightmare. And I'm about to explain that next.
And then I fell in love with one of them. And so then it became non-safe.
So I feel like I should clarify this too. There's a safety in platonic relationships. And then I think when you already have relationships that are very emotionally intense, But it's understood that they'll stay platonic. Both people are kind of really safe and secure. When one person starts to feel romantic feelings, that safety is no longer guaranteed. It's no longer felt. I know I felt sort of out of control. I felt extremely depressed. I knew that it wouldn't be returned. It was one of the most painful forms of unrequited love I'd ever experienced, because there was really, really no way that it would work out. And it alienated me, I feel like, not only from that person, but from friends of that person. It was just it was a rough patch of my life. And so, yeah, I started to view my relationships, not just with gay men, but with all men, just a little bit differently. And I started to really examine why I sort of stay away from, certain types of relationships, and how that had affected me overall. I had isolated myself so much from men that I could possibly be attracted to and receive love in return from. And now I had gotten myself into this position. It just made me feel sort of like a stranger in my own body. It's very hard to explain unless you've, been through it. But yeah, when that happened, I was like, oh, I've been lying to myself. These are not just the, relationships I thought they were. We contain multitudes as human beings. And so therefore, multitudes of experiences are possible. And yeah, I had to re-examine.
To be friends with gay men, and trust me, I'm not the only one. Literally look it up. It's all over the internet. It happens all the time. I think it's just because if you're someone who's attracted to men and you find someone who is masculine, who is artistic, who is caring, who is compassionate, who's handsome, who knows how to dress, and then at the same time he's talking to you and speaking to you in ways that you're not used to, because a woman like me with no pretty privilege, I'm not used to men being nice to me. So he's being nice to you. I think, it's just natural for your mind and heart to bend in certain ways. And that's what happened to me. But I realized, like, I'm hiding out in these friendships only because I don't want to get my feelings hurt. And woof, I done got my feelings hurt. So, and also just with changes in life and jobs, I just have not run into close male friendships in a long time, but I never had heterosexual male friendships. And I can remember being in high school and being so upset because I'd seen all these videos and stuff about high school and how wonderful it was. And I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna have guy friends and like go on dates. And by the way, here's a picture of me in high school. You can see why I was disappointed. I was not very attractive. I had horrible acne. And the one thing I had going for me, according to the guys at that time, was my body. I had a bigger bottom than a lot of the other girls did. But it didn't make me enough to like ask out on a date or to prom. They just commented on it when I walked down the hallway very loudly and somewhat traumatically. And um, yeah, I'd rather not go down that road right now, but it was terrible and made me ashamed of my body for years. Anyway, the point is this. I also did not have male friends. Like, I just didn't have natural situations where I was talking to a group of guys. They were talking to, because none of my friends were hanging out with guys, because I thought, and I ended up being right, the guys didn't want to date us. So they were like, whatever. I was in a debate class, and one of the guys was talking. He was pretty popular because, he's a dude.
Well, it's kind of funny because like this is the exact same, like the social circle thing she's talking about. This is the exact same like problem that like a lot of incels have. Where it's like, I mean, beyond the looks issue, like it's like, okay, like I'm in these social circles, but there's no women there for me to like actually talk to and have a social circle with to some extent. There's no social connections there to tie us together to some extent. So like, very funny how like, okay, the exact same situation. But in her case, that when those dudes were catcalling her in the hallway, all she had to do was turn around and like literally make it happen. She just didn't do it.
Jack Nickelback, mystery school. If she had my high school experiences or Pluto's high school experiences, they found her ass in a river. She would have jumped off a fucking bridge a long time ago. Like they have, like, the average girl has no idea what's like being a low average or below average guy, or part of the genetic out group or the eugenic out group in high school or in college. It's fucking Soulfield, dude. You're seeing all these guys just go through women like fucking tissue paper while you come up to nothing.
Nope. Yeah. Hold on.
So, do we even need this stream anymore if women to just kind of like do our jobs for us?
Yeah. Chad, no, go back. At the end of the video, she's gonna say, "Don't let the black pill guide you. Don't be a free agent in life."
Probably gonna be a Jackie Nickelback in like a year or two at this rate. Goddamn.
Yeah. Or Black Ronisha.
All right, I'm gonna shut up.
Dude, he's funny, love that. And he goes, listen, all the friends that I have that are girls are hot. I'm only friends with girls that are hot. If I'm friends with a girl, she is hot, because at one point we could date. And he said that, and I almost started crying in the middle of class because I didn't have any guy friends. And I had always known the reason why. And I was like a sophomore at this time. So I had been through my whole freshman year, like, nothing had happened. I might as well have been homeschooled, because I had like no social life. And when the guy said that, I was like, that's why I'm not pretty. I'm never going to have the high school experience that's on the movies. I'm never going to have. Steve Harvey's right. Most men are motivated to be friends with women because they want to get something out of it. And I will say it's a very base motivation. So in my adult life, I've been lucky enough to have at least coworker relationships. Now they're always superficial. We're not on the phone talking to each other. We might text memes and stuff once in a while we're at work, especially if they're married, but at least I do know that they have done things for me, like, and I'm really speaking about one person because he's really the exception to this rule, but offered me a muffin, giving me a space heater, because they could tell I was complaining about my heat, so brought a space heater for me to work. There's some men out there who are evolved enough to still be friends and still be kind to women, even though they don't want anything from them. But it is very rare. In fact, a lot of the girls that I know that have guy friends that are like, oh, he's my friend. They've dated that guy. They've been intimate with that guy. That guy has wanted to date them. He still thinks he can date them. They're not just friends with them for no reason. So I brought that up just to say that the thing that hurts me the most about pretty privilege or not having it is just, I feel like I get left out of a lot of the wonderful, beautiful things about being a woman. I never feel celebrated. There's this whole idea of when you get older, you're older because no one turns and looks anymore when you walk in a room. Well, never having had that experience, I guess I won't miss it. But at the same time, it would have been really cool to know what that was like. I always think about the fact that I never lived a life where, it was necessary to have a whole bunch of different kinds of clothes and outfits and things in my closet. Working in middle school and then not really liking to go out because you're invisible when you go out means that I don't really have a fantastic wardrobe. I have a couple of cute little pieces here and there, but I definitely order my things a la carte. Like if I have something to do, I'll get an outfit and it's just for that one thing. I definitely don't keep a closet full of clothes because where am I going? And then the idea of putting, makeup and getting my hair done, doing all that stuff, only to go out and be completely ignored. It's upsetting. Something did dawn on me though, which was that I won't even look like this forever. This is not how I looked 10 years ago. And in 10 years, I won't look like this. And, or maybe I might. I ran into this kid's mom that I went to high school with 18 years ago, and she told me I looked 17. So I don't know. But I thought to myself, you're missing out on the parade of life. And by that, I mean, when there's a parade, yeah, we have the big balloon floats. We've got the pageant queens on their floats. We've got the acrobats. We got a whole bunch of different things going by, but the whole thing is beautiful, right? And I feel that way about just my belonging in the world. So I may not be a pageant queen on a float, but I'm still here. I'm here. And as long as I'm here, I'm in the parade. And it's my job to adorn myself the way I see fit. And I find that even though when I go out into the world, traffic is not going to stop. Nobody's ever going to see me across the room and be like, oh my God, that's the love of my life. It's not going to happen. I'm going to always pay for my own drinks when I go out, unless it's like.
Yeah, but the fact that you even expect this stuff to exist for you to begin with is like really like, just goes to show you that the average female mindset of like, yeah, like your life is supposed to be full of free fucking shit. That's what it sounds like. My life is supposed to be a socialist communist utopia where I don't have to work and you give me free shit. You work and you work your ass off and you give me free shit. That's what it sounds like. What it comes across as like extremely privileged. Like females have had like this like female privilege for fucking since like the day one, and now she's complaining that like all of a sudden, well, I don't get as much privilege as the other women get, so it's unfair. It's like, well, Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, life isn't fucking fair to some extent. You know, I'm not gonna say that. You know, I'm just gonna say it. It's true. Like, it's just not fucking fair that like people get different things based on like arbitrary things, like looks. Like, it's not fair, but it is what it is, right?
Dude,
Like,
she's not complaining that it's not fair. She's complaining that it's not unfair to her advantage.
yeah,
She's complaining that it is fair. That's her whole point.
Yeah, dude, you're absolutely right about that.
It's like BGS said, women want equity, not equality. They want equal outcomes regardless of what they put in.
Jack Nickelback and Draw Lukes and Mystery School. I remember I got my thought now. Women are left leaning and communist in their entitlement, but are fascist in their dating habits.
Yeah, you said it before. But yeah, it kind of comes down to like it's just obvious that like as BGS says, or Jack is quoting BGS, like you have this equity based mindset of like, hey, no matter how I look, no matter what I do, no matter what's going on, I deserve the outcome that every other person got. And it's like, well, that's not how fucking life has ever worked. Like, people are born with different abilities, different looks, different ways of doing things, different thought processes. Everything's different at a genetic, from a societal level, from a socioeconomic level, whatever you want to call it. And like, to expect that you're going to get an equal outcome from a system that is inherently mystery hate, dude. Oh my god. Yeah, like to expect that you're going to get an equal outcome from a system that is inherently unequal, and from people who are inherently unequal, is extremely, like, I don't know what you want. Like, you want something that doesn't exist, and you want something that nobody can actually give you. Like, not everybody can get $1 million. It just can't happen.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, if the price of a space heater is what it costs to smash her, I would pay.
Dude, that's not the cost to smash her. That's the cost to be in the friend zone.
Yeah, you put in the friend zone for space heaters, my dude.
Yeah.
And when she talks about like putting on makeup and all other bullshit, like, you know how many incels I know who gym max, guys like Draw Lukes who work their asses off for making 6K, damn near not six figures, damn near 7 figures, who make really good money, but they're still struggling. Like, she's just getting a small taste of what the average guy goes through.
Yeah, and women don't like it. Sure.
Yeah, I find it real funny. Like, she has plenty of offers. It's like the average dude has 0 offers. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's
she can get a circle of simps at Safeway. She just doesn't like those simps. She wants beta Chad, not beta Brad. Like that shit.
Yeah, it's delusion at its best.
Let's finish this up real quick.
And really, even then, I can still make an effort to make myself be a reflection of how I feel about myself. Does that make sense? For so long, I didn't want to participate in the pageant, in the parade, because, well, people don't like me anyway, right? But how do you feel about yourself? Well, I think I'm a beautiful mermaid. I think I'm worthy. So something that did happen very...
That's the problem, though. Everybody, especially in this day and age, everybody thinks they're fucking worthy. Everybody thinks they're special. Everybody thinks they're the exception. When in reality, most people fall right in the fucking middle. They're either the mean or they're fucking below average to some extent. Not everybody's gonna be the pretty princess and be on the top of the fucking pyramid and live in a castle. But like, the problem is that, like, I think she acknowledges this, at least in the video for sure. It just kind of comes down to like, I mean, like, you're complaining, but like, and I understand your fucking complaints, but like, to some extent, like, you just got to accept it and move on. Like, you're not going to be like, you're not a princess. You don't have the looks of a princess. You're never going to have the looks of a princess. So to some extent, you need to come down to reality, come back down to like where you actually belong at, and just live your fucking life.
I can explain this. I can explain it. Like, it's clearly, in general, most men are below average, and every woman is above average.
Jack Nickelback, she has a condition from what I like to call the Disney Channel princess mindset or mentality. A lot of these women who complain about, oh, Chad doesn't want me, a lot of them grew up watching these Disney movies where these average ass princess chicks get wifed up by Chad.
Bro, that's a Tyler Perry movie. It's beyond that. That's just a regular romance flick, man. Like, shit.
Yeah. And Tyler Perry caters towards women just like her.
Yeah.
Let's keep going here.
Because in the sorry.
transformed from just being aware that I did not have this privilege and to, yeah, but when you go out in the world, how you present yourself is a reflection of how you feel about yourself. And so even if nobody ever buys you a drink, nobody ever turns their head to look at you, if a picture is taken by you or by somebody else and they go back and look at it years later, they'll say, oh, I can tell she loved herself. And that is something that took me 37 years to learn. So yeah, I would say that is my final thought on pretty privilege. Society may not feel that you have it, but if you feel you have it, you're going to reflect that back into the world. And that matters.
And that boy was his cope at the end of that thing. Cope. Oh, I'm glad I actually saw that. Cope. It's cope. Yeah, that this is like female cope right here. I'm sorry, but you can't like self-actualize your way or do some fucking weird mental gymnastics in your head to like, this is what she's doing. She's doing mental fucking gymnastics, trying to like say, oh, I really do feel good about myself, even though I'm not getting any positive feedback from the world. But I do feel good about myself. Bullshit. Bullshit. Everybody fucking knows that basically the external world reflects back into you, and that's how you kind of feel to some extent. Like, you know, if you're not getting the validation that you want from the world, you're gonna feel like fucking shit. And she knows this cope for her. This is mad cope. This cope.
I forgot who said it or where it was said that like most male improvement books are about basically doing better, but most female improvement books are about feeling better, thinking better of yourself and shit. So it's just an extension of that.
Out and then yeah, it really just come down to that. Oh boy, that was fun. Let me add people to the stream. There's a lot of people in here. Holy shit! I'm gonna
hold up. Is that Ace? My brother Ace.
Hey there, Jack. What's up?
Yo,
what's up, Ace? You don't know who I am, do you?
Black Ronin?
Yeah, it's me. Look at my profile picture.
Only
Well,
you
to be honest,
shit like that up. Everybody
to
knows.
be honest, your voice was pretty much a dead giveaway, brother. But other than that, I couldn't help but notice your thoughts on what the hell was that on that woman's head? That was a weave, right?
I don't know who said that, but somebody
It's a
said
hair
it.
hat.
It
It's a hair
was.
hat.
I call that's a weave in translation to me.
Yeah, that's what Tommy Sotomayor used to call him.
Oh wow.
Well,
Something tells me, man, that is a clear case of mental illness. If a woman has to resort to wearing a hair hat or weave such as ugly as that, and I've seen worse.
Well, regardless, she still has a simp circle. It's just not the one she wants.
Wow. We really do live in such disappointing times, do we?
I find
It's
it
more
very-
like people just like things are so in the open that men really just see how the sausage is made and shit.
Yeah, no one likes seeing how the like how it's made. People hate that shit. It's like, wait, what do you mean? All this shit matters? Like, of course it does. Fucking genes matter. Fucking your environment matters. Fucking everything else matters too. And when it comes down to it, it kind of makes you who the fuck you're gonna be to some extent. It's like, oh well, I don't like any of that. Well, I don't tell you. Like, yeah.
All right then.
Jeff Nickelback, Mr. School and Ace. I feel like with the next generation of women, they're gonna have this mindset, but times 10. So you're gonna start seeing like even like chicks who are like below like -5s, thinking they're entitled to Chad.
You said they could what? The last part.
It's gonna. I feel with the next generation, the generation Alpha, the kids who grew up on TikTok and Instagram and Snapchat, they're gonna be girls who are like way worse than her in terms of looks, like -5 or -3 or a 0, but they're gonna feel like they're entitled to Chad or Giga Chad at the rate we're going.
I already told you about those threads on Cole that had like literally burn victims and shit. They had like normie husbands. So
Wow. I have no comment towards that.
Yeah, this shit never ends. I mean, hypergamy never ends. This is a constant fucking shit show. So, Go ahead, Drolix.
I was gonna say even Face and LMS brought up good examples of boys with missing limbs or even rare disease, and they look hideous, but they still got an average normie boyfriend. It's like they can't lose. Like just having a vagina is instant win.
Like dudes that would mog like 80% of the people here. Like literally, I've seen them. Like fucking 5 points at least and shit. Like literally normies and Chad lights. That's where they were hitting, and that's the absolute bottom tier. Like the actual 1 out of 10s and shit. So you already know how it is for everybody else.
Yeah, but I just kind of think I think what was that guy? Tails did a pretty decent video. At least like in a more closed society, like say Japan, because Japan has one of the lowest immigrations in the world. So Western Europe or any Western nation is done because the men that would have been born today aren't getting born, and there's still plenty of excess men that they can import from South America, anywhere else. So the menial work is still gonna get replaced, but I would say maybe South Korea, China, Japan. It's like even though the population will decrease, the demand for the job are most likely still gonna be there. So I guess men still have the pick of the litter in terms of work.
I mean,
And
yeah,
maybe
but
that might restore some value in the sense that if women also want to breed, they would just have to settle or be able to get the average guy. But it seems to be a theory only in more a closed society.
we can see by the cat ladies here that if they can't get what they want, they will literally just go without. There's even the asexual women over in Japan and shit, and the asexual women over here. It's like it's chat or bust. Most don't
Yeah,
sell.
base Pluto said it the best. Most Western women or women as a whole would rather be by themselves than not be with Chad.
Yeah, for the whole mindset,
So,
the whole slogan of like I can do battle by myself comes from. It's like, okay, well, why the hell would I want you when it's like, hey, I have my own job, I own my own money, I can do whatever the fuck I want, and hey, I can do battle by myself. Like I don't fucking need some fucking tag along type of fucking low status man in my pocket.
I could do Chad all by myself. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, but in the closed society, it's correlation with the job. So the demand for the better jobs will still be there with fewer men. So then men have the top pick of the litter in terms of those jobs, which in turn, might raise their status overall. But again, it's just a theory in a closed society like Japan or China or Korea.
I mean, maybe, but like, why are they the worst off though?
Say that again.
Said maybe, but why are they the worst off? Like they're like thinking their birth rates, like they're worse than the West is, and we have all them. Like they're way worse than the U.S. and we have all the immigration and shit. So,
Well, Japan, as an example, is completely, or I should just say, Asian culture or Oriental culture in general is completely different from the West. It's never going to be the same. So, like in the West, it's more open, and then in the Asian culture, it's still more closed. So, I guess that's the difference.
Here's the question: Do you guys believe that inequality in and of itself is generally unjust or unfair in and of itself? It seems to be a huge sticking point nowadays. People talk about equality this, equity that, equality this, equity that. And it seems like a lot of people harp on about the topic, but it's like, but nobody ever talks about, okay, but is it even inequality just seems to be just a natural consequence of people making human decisions to some extent, and those decisions either working out or not working out in your favor, or outside of your favor. What do you guys think about that?
it depends. Like it goes back. BGS said it depends on what you're going after, equality or equity. Are you going after equality of opportunity for some, or you're going after equality of outcome regardless of qualification. As far as men, it's generally just going to be, hey, I want the same kind of shot as everybody else without nepotism and shit involved. Like, if I go into a fucking competition to be a rock guitar player for a band and somebody like me loses, but I feel like the competition was fair, I'm going to be like, hey, I just fucking lost. I'm not going to go, oh, that motherfucker had hand privilege. He's better than me because he didn't have Parkinson's. Like, no, I'm just be like, hey, I ain't got enough.
I think it depends on the topic when it comes to equality, inequality, and equity. Because men and women, in a general nutshell, are different in terms of genetics. And even though they may not be, and even though we're not equal in terms of everything, we do have, men and women do have different strengths in different areas. And that's perfectly fine with that.
So what strengths do they have, just for the record?
Well, so far will be terms of, from the one I've observed, will be emotional intelligence and emotional navigation. In comparison to men, terms more of a critical thinking in terms of logic.
Maybe.
If we're talking about the one you just mentioned, Ace, like, inequality, equity, all that stuff, I think it really depends on the context and situation. But my personal opinion is like the world ain't fair. It's never gonna be fucking fair. You're dealt with the shit cards you're dealt with it, and you just gotta fucking deal with it. It's literally as simple as that. I don't know why people overcomplicate it.
Well, it seems like people overcomplicate because, like, even stuff like we were talking earlier. I think Jack brought up a nepotism to some extent, and it's like, or I think he brought up nepotism, definitely about nepotism, and like, okay, but like, is that, you might say it's an unfair advantage, but like, is it though? Like, if you have a social connection and you use it and exploit it, like, life's all about making social connections the way that's like, if you just have a skill of like having a better social skill and you're able to make these connections with people and have more friends in more areas, like, why is it wrong to take advantage of that particular skill and use that skill?
Yeah, exactly. Like, I think there's some unfair advantages, like, maybe you're born into a rich family, and so by virtue, you have like more resources, and you don't have to concern yourself with being poor, right? But maybe someone might have to concern themselves, like, oh shit, where do I get my rent money? Am I going to be out on the streets? So, yeah, there's that, like, but that's just only financial. I think like ultimately it's like you're just dealt these cards in life, and if you're in a rich, advantageous position, like, you can't fault rich people for being rich, if you know what I mean. It's like they were born into it, or maybe they worked hard and achieved that. I mean, by whatever cards they're dealt with. It's like their life played out to be that way. Unfortunately, you got dealt shitty hands, and if you want to get rich, you gotta just work extra harder to attain the same or not. It's like life is just never gonna be fair. It's so people
I'll
just gotta
say
deal with it.
I'll say this. I think for men, I think universally, well, yeah, I'll fucking say it. I think universally we want fairness and competition unless you're benefiting from it. But as far as unfairness, we can tolerate the shit. That doesn't necessarily mean we like it. Like, we could just accept, like, okay, there's nothing I can do about this situation, whatever. Let me move on. Like, if you have somebody in the position where they can't get any needs met, and it's because of some sort of unfairness in the competition, yeah, then you're gonna have a fucking communist revolution or some shit.
Yeah,
It's just that when they have alternatives, they'll be like, okay, that avenue's closed off, and it might be this, this, and this, but it might be more productive for me to go towards this alternative than to just try to overturn something I perceive as an unfair system.
Yeah, like in a sense, I think where the disconnect and the problem comes from is like when, they expect a fairness or demand fairness on things that, doesn't necessarily should guarantee fairness. Like if we're talking sports, yeah, you should not use performance enhancing drugs, like follow the rules, all that stuff to make it fair. But the like example would be like, oh, okay, I lost my left arm in an accident. Like now I'm disadvantaged in life. I have to go through life with one arm. Uh, and then am I gonna demand everyone else have their left arm cut off? So it's all fair now.
That's more like that's what I was talking about with equity. That's expecting equality of outcome.
Yeah, yeah, and that's where the problem is. I'm like, well, it sucks to be you. You lost your left arm, but
Yeah,
it's
that's
not
not what
gonna
most
grow
men
up.
argue for. Men just argue for, yeah, okay, I just want to be tested by the same standards.
But ultimately, at the end of the day, though, like the outcome is what we're all complaining about, though, isn't it? Like ultimately, like if somebody gets an opportunity and they lose, well, of course they're going to complain about the outcome of the losing. Like you almost expect it to occur. Well, I lost because of X, Y, and Z, and maybe they're coping to some extent. I lost because he had an unfair advantage and it's bullshit that he won and I lost. But ultimately, at the end of the day, I feel like people don't really give a fuck about equality of opportunity. They care more about the actual outcome of the situation. Like we don't measure school grades for no reason whatsoever. We do it because hey, we care about the outcome base of that school thing. We don't give kids an opportunity to go to school in a rich nation because because like out of the goodness of our heart, we care about the outcome of the schooling that we get productive citizens who are able to work in a job market that's variable and changing all the time.
I mean, I disagree because think about it. Think about the red pill. I think it's all about male agency. And all the times where it's like a systemic issue, but how should I say this? When they don't get a result, their instinct is to go, I fucked up. Even if it doesn't make sense. Like, oh man, I'm a 5'2" balding Indian janitor and women don't like me. Man, I should buy another cologne or some shit. Like, no, that's a systemic issue. Women are built not to like short men.
Well, yeah, but
in their head,
but the issue is somewhat with you though, because like you're a 5'2" balding Indian janitor.
no, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. It's like on a systemic level in a sense, but they keep on like they'll naturally take the perspective that it's something I did or didn't do because the competition is fair. So I must be personally fucking up on some level with my actions. Just instinctively, men will do that. Men will assume they have agency. No, everybody will assume men have agency whether they do or don't, and everybody will assume women don't have agency whether they do or don't.
Yeah, I think it's that fallacy. Like the 5'2" janitor thinks he still has a chance compared to like a 6'5" white Chad,
Yeah,
It's
he'll
like,
think he wasted his chance, even though he never had one.
yeah, that's the delusion, I would say. And I mean, the whole equity thing or equality thing, it matters in context. But like I can say for a fact, right? Like, because I went through STEM in university, like I met some of the most hardworking, smartest dudes. This guy was like from Somalia, like he survived, genocide there. Like if you hear his story, it's like amazing. I'm like, dude, how did you end up here? Like he's working at like Boeing, like the top aerospace engineer company, like from fucking dirt village in some dirt patch in Somalia all the way up to working in something like that. But like you got to look at this guy. He did everything in his power to improve his life. Every opportunity that he got, he capitalized, worked his ass off. And you got like 19-year-old dumbass kids wasting their parents' college fund trust money, and they end up just being rich losers or nothing, make nothing out of their lives essentially. But they had every fucking opportunity handed to them compared to, like, let's say the Somali guy who had to earn everything, right? And then they look down on the Somali guy because he's like, oh, why is he rich? Why is he successful in life, doing well? and I'm a white guy and I had every opportunity and I didn't achieve equal or better. It's like I think people might be dumb not being able to recognize the position that they are and the advantages that they have most of the time.
I mean, average people are average. They're gonna do things to an average level.
But I would even say that guy who was born in Somalia, who had a hard life, is arguable. But like even him having that hard life was you could argue that might have given him actually an advantage actually to some extent, because like it gave him drive. It made him, he had something to run away from. That can be a huge motivator to get you to actually get up and get out of that bad situation to some extent. So like you can, I mean, I'm not trying to like say like, oh, you can turn a negative into a positive, but like it's like one of those weird things where it's like, hey, like sometimes it's like the old saying of like iron sharpens iron, diamond pressure creates diamonds. Like this concept like it's somewhat true. Like if you're put under enough pressure and you strive and you work hard and you keep pushing forward, well, depending on the bad situation, you can somehow like it can motivate you to definitely get out of the bad situation for sure.
I mean, you could even say he was slightly privileged in the sense, like how many people just like him will never even have the opportunity, even if they might be more talented.
Yeah.
But Jack, no, go back. And
like, there's no way to evade that luck plays a part in all this shit. Like, there's.
I was gonna get into that. A lot of the white incels on the Discord server that I'm in, they get mad at me because I got with some low tier milk, and they say, "Oh, it's because of BBC theory." I'm like, "No, I just got lucky," and they say, "Oh, you're coping." I'm like, "Some people do get lucky every now and then, and they just don't understand that shit at all."
Yeah, but to them, they would never even have the chance. Like I can understand, but yeah, I can understand for both sides. You're like, yeah, that's just a fluke. For them, they might say, I will never even have the chance to have a fucking fluke in my life. Like,
Yeah, I mean, to some extent, I could say I was also in the same, pressure with the Somali guy. Like, I knew if I didn't graduate and, improve my, what is it, STEM maxing or career maxing, like, Lord knows what I'll be doing now, right? It's just kind of like, I knew I had to make this work. So I put in, like, pretty much everything, all my effort into making it work. So, but then at the same token, it's like I worked my ass off. I capitalize on all the opportunities that I had. Like you got to recognize, what's in front of you and take it to your advantage. It's like, like you said, mystery earlier. If the guy has more connections, sociable, is he at fault for capitalizing that? I don't think so.
Yeah, it makes perfect. Anybody in this situation would do the exact same thing. So I don't understand like why like I guess this is the quirk of human nature. I guess where like we see someone who does something. It's like, well, that's unfair because like why is he able to do that? But it's like, okay, but if you were in his shoes, you doing the exact same things. Why the fuck are you bitching about it? Like it basically comes down to basically saying it basically comes down to like like I don't have what he has, therefore it's unfair.
Yeah, I think that's a real problem.
In addition to having the luck of the draw when it comes to situations and opportunities, can you hear me?
Yeah,
yeah, we can hear you.
All right. I personally think it goes with the mindset, meaning that you have a fucked up situation, or in the case that you got cocky and arrogant, in the case regarding me, when I was way younger, and I realized that I have to get my shit together, not for terms of society's sake, but for my own as well. So in addition to the luck of the draw when it comes to opportunities, you also have to have the mindset that goes with it, indicating that, look, I'm not planning to take any chances when it comes to all certain types of shit, the shit that I've already been through. I'm going to go do my best and see how things play out, but with the goal to succeed. At least that's how it came from me.
Everyone is privileged to an extent. That's why I hate the word. Yeah, there's plenty of ways you can like spin something into being a privilege to some extent, like saying, okay, well, you have that advantage, you have that advantage. Yeah.
Everybody has the situations people are in are not symmetrical, so it's hard to compare because it's going to be apples and oranges. Now, there's going to be group trends and all that you can measure, or like objective things in the law, maybe. But like, once you get too much into detail, then it's muddled as hell.
Yeah, this is like the same reason why like the red pill stuff, like the PUA crap, doesn't hold water to some extent, because like everybody's situation is like, you can draw, like you can maybe take data and draw like statistical models and say, hey, in general, if you do these things, it'll work. But like every single individual story matters to some extent. Like, like every single thing you do in that encounter will lead either to success or failure. And like there's too many variables other than the ones that we know of. Okay, we can quantify and throw on a graph somewhere, but the ones that we don't know of are the ones that we have to worry about. And obviously, somehow the red pillers seem to like leave out looks out of their equation, which is a huge factor, obviously. So
of course they would, because it implies that you can't work your way out of everything.
Yeah.
It removes the sense of agency that gives the whole red pill life.
I mean, like the entire like self-help industry is basically based off of this self-help books are based off this idea of like, hey, well, it's not you per se, it's the situation. So if you just change the situation, you get to you can do anything. It's like, okay, well, everybody knows that's just not fucking true.
Some people are, well, a lot of people would rather think that they're fucking up than think that they're actually powerless.
Yeah.
Most
yeah.
people are fucking powerless. There's no way around it. That's why they call the black pill negative all the fucking time. Like, even taking away the cynical people, it's just people being fucking 100 about their options. I'm not gonna be Jeremy Meeks in my life, and there's no way to work towards that. I'm not gonna fuck a billionaire just because I'm me.
Yeah, very true. Yeah, I think you said it earlier about agency, and like, yeah, people hate the idea of like removing agency and removing free will from the equation, because the moment you start doing that, it's like the moment people are like, well, then what can I do to change my situation? And it's like, well, nothing. But like, if you tell them nothing, though, it's like, okay, then that's when they start getting like, they start rejecting those concepts for sure.
You can't look. Let me paraphrase. America will never have an incel revolution because every incel thinks they're just a lazy Chad.
Yeah, it's like what's it called? Everybody's a temporarily embarrassed millionaire. Like the whole mindset. Yeah, very true. Anybody else? I think kind of Woodlands. I see you in here. You have anything you want to add, or I'm not sure if you're even here or not. I might just remove you from the stream. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and. Oh, I see. I hear a mic.
Yes, I'm here, but I was a bit distracted.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but I'm still here.
Okay, just want to see if you had anything to add while I was trying to include people in the conversation. So,
well, do you think this narcissism is really growing, or is it just everybody feels privilege kind of ways? Because everybody today is talking now about narcissism and that it's increasing. You frequently read those articles stating that, yeah, young people are so narcissistic. Is it education? Is it the upbringing or the media what causes this?
I would just say that maybe these people were probably already narcissism definitely seems to be is definitely increasing, and whether or not it's due to environmental factors or genetic factors is arguable. But like, human beings are probably narcissistic to some extent. But like, the media does them no favors. It's like when you have stuff like Instagram or TikTok, you can just go on there and post about yourself, and everybody's liking your photos and liking your pictures on Facebook and Instagram and Snapchat. Well, of course, that's going to lead to people doing that more and more often, becoming more and more self-interested and narcissistic for sure. So it's to be expected.
I mean, in the past, you actually knew your place. You weren't told that you were this special snowflake by default. And nowadays, everybody by default thinks, yeah, he's special and he can do special things. But in the past, you actually had to prove it. First, you do the special things, and then you can call yourself special. But nowadays, yeah, you're like special by default.
Yeah, everybody gets a participation trophy, right? The old saying.
Yeah, from a old self perspective, like I never bought into that social media garbage for a very long time. And I never even had a Facebook for like, years or actually decades. And it's only when, you know, a couple of friends were like, yo, you need to get on Facebook. And I'm just like, all right, whatever, I'll make an account. And then it kind of is addictive. Like I got the taste of it. And so it's like, oh, you know, you start adding family, then it's like, oh, friends of friends. And then you're getting all these friend requests. And then you get your coworkers on there and all your acquaintances. And then next thing you know, I'm like, oh, bro, like I haven't even talked to you in 20 years. Like, how you doing? Like you get all this connections all of a sudden, and then you know you start posting shit and people are like, yeah, yeah, you know, they like your crap. And then it's like you kind of get sucked into it, you know. It's like, oh, like this whole thing, like people care what I had to say. You know, you get attention, you know, that kind of thing. Luckily for me, it just lasted like 3 months, and then I'm just like, man, this is fucking stupid. It's like another time waster garbage. And you know, like I hardly use Facebook. It's just a phone book of acquaintances now.
I have a comment on this. I think there's two sides of it. One, humans aren't built for this sort of like environment inherently. Like if you're at the like what Dunbar's number and 250 people, you're not gonna get that sort of attention unless you're like a hero or some shit.
Yeah, exactly. So my point was, it's like the generation nowadays are growing up with, you know, this stuff
Yeah,
like
but
already automatically. So it's like their life is based on, you know, likes and popularity and this. Like I guess you can sign up when you're 13. So it's like they just grow up with this whole narcissistic view of like, oh, I have more likes than you, or you know, I have more friends than you, I got more followers than you. It's like retarded way of basing your life's worth, you know?
yeah, but two, and here's the other side of it, and why I say capitalism is basically built upon taking apart social bonds and preying upon the like fucking profit from that. Basically, it's not hard to assume that every site is built in a predatory way upon those subconscious instincts. So there's literally a profit motive to take like ripping society apart from the seams through their minds, their subconscious minds that they can't even monitor. Like it's like every like loot boxes are one thing, but that's an obvious thing. How many of these websites are programmed to like, oh, okay, so it has this flashing here and this going off here, and this produces this subconscious reaction so that you're happy, and then you have this, and then you have this Pavlovian training to want to come back and do it again and again. Like,
Yeah, I feel like because I was an old cell and you know it was like foreign to me.
yeah,
I got a taste of it and I can see why people end up, you know, being social media addicts. But to me it was just like this is just another waste of time. It's stupid. You know, I have like an adverse reaction to it in a sense, right? It's like I have the wherewithal to be like I'm not gonna waste my time with this garbage.
yeah, but it's
But
not built
I
to
think
get
for
you;
the
it's built to get average people.
yeah, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like for the average person, they just get sucked into this and it becomes their norm, which is what's messing up society, I would say.
Yeah, and the more
Basically,
they, oh, sorry, go ahead.
go ahead. You can finish
I
your.
was just gonna say, yeah, the more messed up society gets, the more profit you get from it as a corporation. That's the fucked up irony. It's a race to the social bottom.
Indeed. Especially when you really think about it, it goes back into instant gratification. Many people, and even me sometimes, though not more, we do seek to be notified and appreciated by everyone. Social media is no exception to that, including social media sites such as Facebook, Instagram, etc. But as you grow up over the years, you realize that getting notification and gratification from others isn't really all that cracked up to be, especially when that time range of things that you want to do, given your hobbies and such.
Hold on, but Ace, I'll say this though. I'm assuming you're like 30 plus, correct? Like an older millennial or so.
You are correct.
Yeah, we grew up in the age of dial-up. Now, if we're talking about like the late Z's and especially the alphas, this is going to be the only social arena they ever known. They're not going to know a world where you weren't judged by your profile picture and shit. So they're like the mental development they have is going to be so radically different. It's not going to be comparable.
Yo,
Like,
I use Netscape
You're right.
1.0.
so what?
I use Netscape 1.0.
Yeah, I remember
That's
those
how
days.
old I am.
I
And
remember
yeah,
when
it was
Firefox first came out and shit and all that.
no, my I remember when we first got internet at home, it was a 28.8K modem, and then 6 months later, my dad brought a 56.6K modem, and he was like, "Man, this is double the speed. It's like lightning fast."
I
And
remember
then,
that, and back then you were watching porn galleries because you didn't have enough bandwidth for videos and shit. All that shit.
yeah, or you're in the middle of downloading porn, and your mom picks up the phone. You're like, "Fuck!"
Like, no.
I was like, "Mom, I told you not to pick up the phone for the next 2 hours."
No, Syntheria, I have to wait a whole fucking 24 hours again. Like,
Fucking three-year fucking lady, you finally get it. It's like, thank God.
Yeah, I found out the best time is, try to do it after 11 p.m. when everyone's asleep and no one's expecting calls.
yeah, for a fucking 100 progressive video and shit. But fucking 2 pixels over 30 seconds, and that shit was gold back then. It was crazy.
Man, those were the days, yo. Floppy disks, and then what was it? The next one was
CDs.
no, there was one before that. It was like a crystal drive.
That's
Was
before
it
me.
flash drives or no?
No, not
Hell
USB
no.
flash drives. It was some weird crystal drive. It was like basically one of it was basically 10 floppy disks. I think floppy disk was 3.4 megabytes, so 10 of those were, oh no, 100 was those, so it was I think like 30 megabytes on one disk. And then CDs came out, and then those were like 128 megabytes and all the other good stuff.
Yeah. Right. I think the real golden age was back during when torrenting wasn't policed so hard. Like that was that was the free age of the internet. Fucking
Yeah,
4chan was going crazy. The Pirate Bay was still open. Fucking
I
LimeWire was still a thing, giving everybody a virus. Like
yeah, I
an
remember Pirate Bay, Napster.
Yeah, I remember modding my PS2 so it could play pirated DVDs and shit. And the only things I got working were like Mercenaries and Kingdom Hearts 2, and they barely worked, but I was still proud of it. But nowadays you can't do that shit.
I think the Dreamcast was like the easiest thing because I don't think you had to do shit for the Dreamcast. You could literally just like burn a CD and just play it. I think you could just like make it happen. Like it was really weird. They had like zero protection on it, like piracy protection at all in that console. So odd.
Yeah. But yeah, going back to the point, the people growing up today, they have no idea what it was before.
No,
Not a
they will
clue.
have no idea what it is to be free.
They're literally raised with a silver spoon in their mouth.
Yeah, silver spoon in their mouths and a fucking rainbow dildo up their ass while they get to pick their gender when they're fucking 6. Like that's it.
It's amazing though, because like I was watching this documentary about the 1950s, and it's like it's almost the same shit. When TVs came out, and when TVs came out, basically programming was there, and people would watch the TV, and they get their media, their consumption from that. There'd be various advertisements. Yeah, sure, you're not around the TV all the time, so it's not like it's nearly as like prolific as a smartphone is. So you're constantly on Facebook or TikTok or Twitter or something like that. But it's really the same. It's just the same thing. It's just a progression of like being a slave to to the capitalist system, or whatever you want to call it, the system in general. People just inundating you with advertisements and telling you how to think and telling you what to do. It's the same thing. It's just you went from a TV and you couldn't bring your TV with you, but now you can. And now they can constantly bombard you with advertisements and social media posts and what's it called? And constantly trying to influence you to think in a certain way or not think in a certain way. So.
Shit, even that goes back to what I was saying. Capitalism taking advantage of broken social bonds. What happened with that shit? People stopped interacting with each other started interacting with each other less and less, more and more with the TV so they could get advertisement.
Count of Woodlands, can you mute yourself real quick? Because your mic keeps like making noise. I'm not sure what you're doing.
It's my mouse pad, sorry.
Okay.
I'm moving my mouse. It's doing something.
Okay, yeah,
Sorry.
just mute yourself real quick and then you can, yeah.
I was gonna say, check this short, I think it's only 4-minute video, but Carl Sagan predicted 2021 basically 25 years ago. Like he was so based that he could predict the future of the current decline. I put the link in the private chat.
Oh, did you? Okay, maybe we can watch that together. Probably only going to be here for another 10 minutes. I got to get out and go to sleep pretty soon, so.
You should have started the damn stream at 8 o'clock. Like shit.
Look, dude. Okay, I had a date today. All right.
All right, mystery monger. Goddamn. Like,
yeah, I had something to do. All right.
Yo, I just got home an hour ago, and I was surprised to see there was a stream going. I thought it was legit like an 8-hour stream.
Yeah,
oh God, no, dude, no fucking way.
I was fucking in line at Wendy's and shit, and saw that mystery has a stream. I'm like, the fuck.
Guy, I really hope this doesn't get me the stream removed. I put it in like I've been using this. Hopefully, this a window and pulling out the thing and putting it in like a screen. It keeps him from
this is a news broadcast, so I believe news broadcasts are generally safe from copyright.
Okay, even if it is, you get the fuck. I'll just remove it, just clip it out because they don't normally like fuck you over when it comes to like news broadcasts and stuff like that. They'll just tell you to like clip it out and call it a day. Let me share my screen, share screen 2, share the audio.
That's 4 minutes.
Let me mute this guy real quick because he's making too much noise. Let me do this. Here we go. Can you guys hear that?
Yeah, we can hear it.
Okay, go and make sure it sounds good.
Last thing before we go tonight is a new appreciation of Carl Sagan that so many people find way overdue. Armed with 4 degrees from the University of Chicago, try that in your spare time. Sagan was an astronomer, scientist, astrophysicist, a genuine public intellectual. He taught at Harvard and Cornell and was ahead of his time almost by definition. Jason Johnson called our attention to this clip on social media today. Here is Carl Sagan on Johnny Carson calling out a new movie called Star Wars for its faulty assumptions and lack of diversity.
Star Wars starts out saying it's on some other galaxy. Right. And then you see there's people. And starting in scene 1, there's a problem because human beings are the result of a unique evolutionary sequence based upon so many individually unlikely random events on the Earth. In fact, I think most evolutionary biologists would agree that if you started the Earth out again and just let those random factors operate, you might wind up with beings that are as smart as us and as ethical and artistic and all the rest, but they would not be human beings. That's for the Earth. So in another planet, different environment, very likely to have human beings.
Are you saying on another galaxy? It's not possible that there could be.
It's extremely unlikely that there would be creatures as similar to us as the dominant ones in Star Wars. And there's a whole bunch of other things. They're all white. The skin of all the humans in Star Wars, oddly enough, is sort of like this.
Right.
And not even the other colors represented on the Earth are present, much less greens and blues and purples and oranges.
They did have the scene of Star Wars with a lot of strange characters.
Yeah, but none of them seem to be in charge of the galaxy. Everybody in charge of the galaxy seemed to look like us. And I thought there was a large amount of human chauvinism. And also, I felt very bad that at the end, the Wookiee didn't get a medal also. You know, all the people got medals, and the Wookiee who had been in there fighting all the time, he didn't get any medal. And I thought that was an example of anti-Wookiee discrimination.
How about that, Carl Sagan, advocate for Wookiees everywhere? As the noted, as public interest can even grasp the issues, when the people have lost the ability to set their own agendas or knowledgeably question those in authority, when clutching our crystals and nervously consulting our horoscopes, our critical faculties in decline, unable to distinguish between what feels good and what's true, we slide almost without noticing back into superstition and darkness. The dumbing down of America is most evident in the slow decay of substantive content in the enormously influential media. The 30-second sound bites now down to 10 seconds or less. Lowest common denominator programming, credulous presentations on pseudoscience and superstition, but especially a kind of celebration of ignorance. Roll that around for a while. Those were among his final published words. He died 10 months later. Here we are 25 years later, realizing just what he was trying to tell us back then.
Damn, holy shitter. God
Incredibly
dang.
accurate.
Yeah.
He was a true genius.
Shit, that's just the nature of information itself becoming a commodity. Why would you expect it to be better?
Yeah, I watched that a couple days ago. I was like, damn, this guy literally predicted the future almost to the T.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like 30-second news clip. It's like TikTok generation right there. Even Vine.
Yeah, people kind of forget about Vine. But that was like definitely the precursor to
Oh, hell
TikTok.
yeah.
It definitely was that. I remember when that came out because I was like, like I said, I've never been big into social media. I have like probably 3 out of the, I guess how many there are now. But like I have an Instagram. I never use it. I have a Facebook page that I never use. I don't even post on Facebook at all. And I have a Snapchat, and I don't even use Snapchat either. So I have all these social media that I don't even fucking use. But like I remember when Vine came out, I was like, "What the fuck is Vine?" I'm like, you look at it, and it's like just these little clips that people keep looking at. It's like, okay, that's weird. And then all of a sudden, TikTok comes out, and it's like the second coming of Vine, and now everyone, their grandma's on that shit, dude.
At least I'll say this: Vine had more talent as try hard as it was, and that was not a high bar to set. So TikTok is just TikTok is like a fucking caricature of what fucking Vine was.
I mean, the reality of the world seems like if you can't condense your this has been a problem in politics for years now, and the problem is like if you can't condense your position down into a slogan, like then like you effectively have no position effectively because you can't market a long nuanced opinion unless if you can't put it down to a slogan. It really is kind of sad.
Dude, that's information as a commodity. It goes down to its lowest level that still gets profit. But
yeah, and articles.
As I say, the ultimate market is the human subconscious.
Yeah, even articles, you just basically read the title. It's like no one actually reads the entire article to get the full context.
Hell no, AI is probably writing this shit at this point.
I think websites like the Daily Mail, I think actually do use some like computer generated articles to some extent because if you read them, you'll find like some pretty obvious mistakes, and it's like what's going on? This is like doesn't even sound grammatically correct, and you can kind of tell it's like this is not written by a person.
Yeah, I think the most damning is a celebration of ignorance. Like the IQ is dropping for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Everybody's just getting dumber.
I mean, there's no profit motive in raising the shit, so what do you expect?
The highlight was definitely where we steer away from questioning things, especially from those who are in power, given from their actions and given from their movements. That was the highlight for me.
Oh yeah, I definitely believe that the whatever you want to call them, the elites, the people in charge, they don't want to have a intelligent population. They want a bunch of people who just pay money buy the next product and keep paying money into the system. They don't give a fuck about like progress per se. I mean, or they do, but they only care about it in so much that it gives them something to some extent, which makes some sense. People are self-interested, but it's like, yeah.
I would disagree with even that because it's a two-way street. Think about it. Like these people. Yeah. So
Before
sorry.
you go on, I just want to say they do care about progress only if it's going to make you money. That's the caveat.
Yeah, I mean, if they have a society of knuckle draggers, and at the end of the day, these people aren't going to like rebel to some extent. They're going to be more docile, easier to control. You can feed them a narrative, and they'll believe it without question. And it's like, okay, well that's easy mode. Then that's authoritarianism on easy mode. You don't have to shit. You just exist, collect your paycheck, live in your ivory tower, and do whatever you want.
I still got to say this though, like to a point. People still, if you're talking about politicians, people still select them. People still go out of their way to get the easiest, like even that's a commodity in a sense. Like
people still select them, sure, but if you control the options, then if you can control the narrative around the politician, you can just control the politician, can control the body politic all you want.
Yeah, but I'm saying even if you had a fucking Harvard professor up there that had a 5-point plan for the economy, he's not going to win compared to the fucking tall 7-foot dude with the jawline who has a pretty slogan and shit.
Well, yeah, and that I guess I'm not sure if we're talking about different things here, but like I was talking about in reference to like the people in power, not even the politicians, but the people in power per se, like the people who own the corporations and what that. They don't necessarily care about who runs the country per se, as long as those people keep pushing the status quo. So like you just put in if you vote A or B, vote Democrat or Republican, they don't give a fuck as long as like, okay, well, don't rock the boat too much, boyo, and just keep the paycheck flowing. I don't give a fuck who you guys vote for.
Oh yeah, the bureaucracy stays the same. That's what really runs the country.
Yeah, I gotta leave pretty soon. Okay, well let's start doing last words. Fuck it, Saffron. I will let you on, but I'm about to leave. So I saw you down there, but I'm like, fuck it. Okay, Ace, last words, my dude.
Other than thank you for inviting me to the stream. Many blessings and wishes to Black Ronin as well as to everyone on this live stream. I have a lot to think about.
All right, buddy boy. See you next time, dude. We got Drolix. Last word, my dude.
Take care, buddy boys. Stay
all right,
based.
dude. See you next time, dude. We have Jack Nickelback. Last words, my dude.
Yeah, always remember, if you're a dude and you're average, you're below average. If you're a chick and you're average, you're above average.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. There you go, buddy boy. All right, next time.
Oh, good night.
Count to Woodland. Last words. Good night. That's it. That's all you got me, dude.
It was a good surrogate stream because Face and LMS wasn't streaming, so it was a good surrogate.
There you go. All right, buddy boy. I'll see you next time. Let's see. Let's get some last word from the chat. Hopefully next weekend I'll have some memes to share because I gotta collect some memes again. Gotta collect more memes from the meme fields and plow my fields for some memes so I can have some stuff to show next Saturday. Let's see what we got. I gotta fucking go to sleep. Gotta work tomorrow. Fuck. Gotta wage slave. Voting is a slave suggestion box. I love that fucking thing, dude. I love that fucking type of shit. Hardest working incel on YouTube, really? I guess so. we tried to do our best to come in here and have a good conversation and give people give the audience what they're looking for. So it's give people what they're looking for to some extent. People just want a place to come here and cope and talk to and figure out stuff. So yeah, it's kind of like basically a think tank, right? We got laughing dude. Voting used to mean something. Now it's just corrupted and lost its meaning. Remember to take your copium. Or maybe take your hopium if you're going to work tomorrow because you're gonna probably fucking need it, dude. Over for sleepy cells. Yeah, I'm fucking tired, dude. I've had a long fucking day. Buddy Boyo, what's up, Raw God? Incella. There you go. Do this every day. Fuck that. Fuck that. I would never do this every day, dude. Gotta check out the Sigma grind set. I have to check his meme out, I guess. I gotta do it. Oh no, Drolix, no! I will probably miss Saturday stream next week, but I can probably join Sunday. It's fine, dude. It's what it is. I got a wage cut tomorrow. Too so sleepy. Yeah. I guess it's a good thing I streamed today because people didn't have shit to watch. I guess, right? So I guess it's a good thing I streamed. So without having someone to stream, it kind of sucks. I'm a sleepy cell too. Yeah, I gotta go to sleep pretty soon. Stay strong. Another week of weight slaving ahead. Yeah, they'll tell you about it. Help with the death for light is life. I might watch a stream before I go to sleep tonight if it's not too long. A long stream night can continue for sure. Didn't he stream earlier today? So it's kind of weird. He's double streaming. It's weird. That's odd. Well, since he's live, I might have to check it out. I never fucking catch his streams ever, so I might have to see what he talks about half the damn time. Stay on your purpose, bro. The pussy flows where money goes, bro. I work 100 hours if I could have a woman of noble Japanese blood. My God. All right, guys. I will see you guys next weekend for another SNI. Should be episode 42. So we'll wrap it up right here. We'll do this again next weekend. Hopefully, we have a good one. Okay. Wait, let's see. Sigma, introverted alpha. Let me read some more of these on. Mystery, I think the first one cut short. Huh, I'm not sure. Yeah, whatever. All right, guys. See you guys next time.